The steaming bowl of gumbo tilted in Vanessa's manicured hands, and before anyone could move, she poured it directly over 6-year-old Maya's head. The scalding liquid soaked through the child's curly hair, burned her scalp, dripped down her face and neck. Maya screamed, her tiny hands clawing at her skin. "Please, Mama, it's too hot. Please, it burns so bad." Her wheelchair shook as she thrashed her paralyzed legs useless, her arms flailing wildly. Vanessa set the empty bowl down on the counter, looked at the sobbing child, and smiled. "That's what happens to little curses who embarrass me in front of my guests." She turned and walked away, her purple gown swishing against the kitchen floor, leaving Maya alone, burned broken. Broken, crying for help that would not come. Before we continue this powerful story of justice, courage, and a father's redemption, please subscribe to our channel and follow Maya's journey until the very end. Comment below with the city you are watching from so I can see how far this story has traveled across the world. 3 hours earlier, Maya Wellington had made a promise to herself. She would be invisible tonight. She would not cause trouble. She would not give her stepmother any reason to be angry. She broke that promise before the first guest even arrived. "What are you wearing?" Vanessa's voice cut through the bedroom like a blade. Maya looked down at her yellow dress, the one her nanny had picked out, the one that used to be her favorite because her mother had bought it for her. "I thought it was pretty," Maya whispered. "Pretty," Vanessa laughed, but there was no warmth in it. "You look like a charity case, like something someone donated to Goodwill." "I can change. I can wear something else." "It's too late now. The guests are arriving." Vanessa bent down, her face inches from Maya's. Her perfume was expensive and suffocating. "Stay out of my way tonight. Do not speak to anyone. Do not go near the food. Do not do anything that draws attention to yourself. Do you understand?" Maya nodded quickly. "Yes, Mama." "I am not your mama." The words came out sharp and cold. "Your mama is dead. I am your father's wife. There is a difference." She straightened up and checked her reflection in the mirror, smoothing a strand of hair that was already perfect. "If you embarrass me tonight, Maya, you will regret it." Then she was gone, leaving Maya alone in her wheelchair, her hands trembling in her lap. The party filled the mansion like a flood. 300 guests in designer clothes drinking champagne that cost more than most people made in a week. Maya watched from her corner near the staircase, trying to make herself small, trying to be invisible like she had promised. But she was thirsty. She had been thirsty for hours. The nanny had forgotten to leave water in her room, and Maya had been too afraid to ask Vanessa for anything. Now her throat felt like sandpaper, and the buffet table with its pitchers of water seemed impossibly far away. She could wait. She should wait, but her throat hurt so much. Maya gripped the wheels of her chair and began to push, slowly, carefully, watching for trailing dress hems and outstretched feet. The crowd was thick and no one moved for her. She whispered, "Excuse me," over and over, but no one heard, or no one cared. She was almost to the buffet table when she saw Denise. Vanessa's sister stood near the champagne fountain pen, talking to a man Maya did not recognize. She was wearing a lavender gown that sparkled, and her laugh was loud and sharp. When her eyes landed on Maya, something cruel flickered across her face. "Well, well," Denise said, loud enough for nearby guests to hear. "Look who decided to join the party." Maya stopped pushing. Her heart began to pound. "I was just getting water," she said quietly. "Water." Denise tilted her head. "Can't you get one of the servants to fetch it for you, or do you enjoy making a spectacle of yourself?" The man beside Denise, her husband Raymond, snorted. "Leave her alone, Denise. She can't help being what she is." "And what is she exactly?" Denise asked. "A burden." Raymond took a sip of his whiskey. "An expensive, useless burden that Marcus is too sentimental to get rid of." Maya's eyes burned with tears she refused to let fall. She turned her wheelchair, trying to escape, but the crowd had closed in around her. She was trapped. "Where are you going?" Denise stepped closer. "We're just having a conversation. Isn't that right, Maya? We're family after all." "Please let me through." "Please let me through," Raymond mimicked in a high-pitched voice. God, even her voice is pathetic. Maya pushed harder on her wheels, desperate to get away. Her chair lurched forward and the front wheel caught on something. Fabric, a long red hem trailing from a woman's gown. The wheel pulled. The fabric tore. The woman stumbled, and the glass of red wine in her hand tipped over, splashing across the pristine white carpet like blood. The music did not stop, but the conversations around them died. Heads turned. Eyes found Maya. "Oh my God," the woman said, staring at her ruined dress. "What did you do?" "I'm sorry." Maya's voice came out as barely a whisper. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to." "Do you have any idea how much this dress cost?" "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "What is going on here?" Vanessa's voice sliced through the crowd. She appeared beside Maya like a shark scenting blood, her smile fixed but her eyes burning with fury. "This child," the woman said, gesturing at her dress, "just destroyed my Valentino." "I am so sorry, Patricia." Vanessa placed a hand on her chest, the picture of mortified concern. "She has these episodes sometimes. Her disability affects her coordination." "It was an accident," Maya said. "I just wanted water." "Shh." Vanessa bent down her face close to Maya's. To the watching crowd, it probably looked tender, but her fingernails dug into Maya's arm hard enough to leave marks. "Apologize properly," she hissed. "I'm sorry," Maya said louder this time. Tears were streaming down her face now. "I'm really sorry." Vanessa straightened up and turned to the crowd with a gracious smile. "Please, everyone continue enjoying the party. I'll take care of this." She grabbed the handles of Maya's wheelchair and began pushing her away from the crowd. Her grip was hard, her movements sharp. Maya held onto the armrests as she was steered through the party like garbage being taken out. "Mama, please, I didn't mean to." "What did I tell you?" Vanessa's voice was low and dangerous. "What did I specifically tell you before the party started? To stay out of your way. And what did you do?" "I just wanted water. I was so thirsty." "You wanted attention. That's what you always want. Poor little Maya in her wheelchair. Everyone look at her. Everyone feels sorry for her." "That's not true." Vanessa stopped pushing. They were near the kitchen now, away from most of the guests. She came around to face Maya, and the mask of pleasantness was completely gone. "Your mother spoiled you," Vanessa said. "She turned you into this needy, pathetic creature, and now I'm stuck dealing with you while your father runs around the country making money he won't even let me spend." "Daddy loves me." The words came out before Maya could stop them. Vanessa went very still. "What did you say?" Maya knew she should take it back. She should apologize. She should lower her eyes and make herself small like she always did. But something inside her, some tiny spark that had not yet been extinguished, pushed the words out again. "He loves me, no matter what you say." The slap came so fast Maya did not see it. Her head snapped to the side, pain exploding across her cheek. She gasped, her hand flying to her face. "You stupid little cripple," Vanessa growled. "You think he loves you, he tolerates you, he keeps you around because he feels guilty about your mother. But the moment I give him a real child, a healthy child, you will be shipped off to some facility where you belong." Maya was crying now, unable to stop. "Please, Mama, I'll be good. I promise I'll be good. It's too late for that." Vanessa turned and walked toward the kitchen. Maya watched her go, her cheeks still burning, her heart pounding with terror. She should run. She should wheel herself away as fast as possible, find somewhere to hide until the party was over. But before she could move, Vanessa came back. She was carrying a bowl. Steam rose from its surface. The gumbo, the specialty dish she had ordered for the party. Maya's eyes went wide. "Mama, what are you doing? You said you were thirsty." Vanessa's smile was terrible. "Let me help you with that. Please. Please don't. Please don't." "What?" Vanessa came closer, the bowl tilted in her hands. "I'm just giving you what you wanted. Something to drink." "Mama, please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything. Please don't hurt me." "Hurt you?" Vanessa laughed. I'm teaching you what happens when you don't listen, when you embarrass me, when you think you can talk back to me in my own house." She was standing over Maya now, the bowl directly above her head. Maya could feel the heat radiating from it. She could smell the spices, the seafood, the burning. "Please," she whispered one last time. "Please, Mama." Vanessa poured. The gumbo cascaded over Maya's head like liquid fire. It soaked through her hair, burned her scalp, but her scalp dripped down onto her face and neck and shoulders. The pain was immediate and all-consuming, worse than anything she had ever felt. Maya screamed. She screamed and screamed and screamed, her small hands clawing at her face, trying to wipe away the burning soup, but it was everywhere. In her eyes, in her ears, soaking through her yellow dress, scalding her skin. "Please, Mama, it's too hot. Please, it burns so bad." Vanessa set the empty bowl down on a nearby cart. She looked at Maya, at the screaming, sobbing child covered in soup, and her expression showed nothing. No remorse, no horror at what she had done, nothing but cold satisfaction. "Now you have something to really cry about," she said. Then she turned and walked back toward the party. Maya sat alone, burning and broken, crying for help that did not come. The kitchen staff had seen everything. A young woman named Rosa, barely 20 years old, had been arranging appetizers when she heard Maya's screams. She had watched in horror as Vanessa poured the soup, as the child thrashed and wailed as the lady of the house walked away without a backward glance. Rosa wanted to help. She took a step toward Maya, reaching for a towel to wipe away the burning liquid, but a hand grabbed her arm. "Don't." It was the head chef, a man named Bernard, who had worked for the Wellingtons for 15 years. His face was pale, but his grip was firm. "Stay out of it." "But she's hurt. She's just a little girl." "She's the stepdaughter of the woman who signs our paychecks. Get involved and we all lose our jobs." Rosa looked at Maya, at the child sobbing in her wheelchair, soup still dripping from her hair. "We can't just leave her like that." "We can and we will." Bernard pulled Rosa back toward the prep station. "This is not our business. Someone has to help her. Someone will, but it won't be us." Rosa let herself be pulled away, but she did not look away from Maya. And when she thought no one was watching, she pulled out her phone and did something that would change everything. She recorded. In the main hall, Vanessa rejoined her guests with a fresh glass of champagne and a brilliant smile. "Is everything all right?" asked one of the women, the wife of a state senator. "I heard screaming." "Oh, that was nothing." Vanessa waved her hand dismissively. "My stepdaughter had a little tantrum. You know how children with her condition can be. Very emotional, very dramatic." "Poor thing, the woman said, though her tone suggested she did not really care. "It must be so difficult for you." "It is." Vanessa sighed the picture of long-suffering patience. "But I do my best. Marcus is away so much and someone has to take care of her. I think of it as my duty." "You're a saint." "Oh, I wouldn't go that far." Vanessa smiled modestly. "I'm just trying to be a good wife, and a good mother even to a child who isn't my own." Across the room, Denise caught her sister's eye and raised her champagne glass in a silent toast. Raymond smirked beside her. They thought they had won. They had no idea that in a private jet 30,000 feet above Tennessee, Marcus Wellington had just received a text message that would bring their world crashing down. The message was from Patricia Howard, his assistant. She had worked for the Wellington family for 20 years. She had helped raise Maya from the day she was born, and she had watched in growing horror over the past year as Vanessa's treatment of the child grew worse and worse. Tonight she had decided she could stay silent no longer. The message contained a video, 37 seconds long. Rosa's recording. Marcus watched it 3 times. The first time he did not understand what he was seeing. His brain refused to process it. That could not be Vanessa. That could not be Maya. This could not be happening. The second time the reality began to sink in. The scream, the soup, the steam rising from his daughter's head, the way she thrashed in her chair, trying to escape pain she could not escape. The third time something inside Marcus Wellington broke. And something else, something harder and colder, took its place. He pressed the call button for the flight attendant. "Sir, can I get you something?" "Tell the pilot to turn this plane around. We're going back to Atlanta." "Sir, we're already halfway to Chicago. The meeting tomorrow morning." "I don't care about the meeting." Marcus's voice was quiet, but something in it made the flight attendant take a step back. "Turn the plane around. Now." The flight attendant nodded and hurried toward the cockpit. Marcus looked at his phone again. At the frozen image of his daughter, his baby girl covered in soup, her mouth open in a scream. He had failed her. For a year he had buried himself in work while his daughter suffered. He had told himself he was providing for her future. He had told himself Vanessa would take care of her. He had told himself he needed time to grieve Naomi, and Maya needed time to adjust, and everything would get better eventually. He had lied to himself, and his daughter had paid the price. "I'm coming, baby," he whispered to the image on his phone. "Daddy's coming." Back at the mansion, Maya had stopped screaming. She had stopped crying too. She sat in her wheelchair in the corner of the kitchen, soup drying in her hair, welts rising on her scalp, and felt nothing. The pain was still there, but it seemed far away now, like it was happening to someone else. This was what she did when things got too bad. She went away inside her head. She found a small, quiet place where nothing could hurt her, and she stayed there until it was safe to come back. She thought about her mother. Naomi Wellington had been beautiful. Maya remembered her smile, her laugh, the way she smelled like jasmine and honey. She remembered being held in her mother's arms, feeling safe and warm and loved. She remembered the boat, the waves, the screaming, the way her mother had looked at her one last time before pushing her toward the rescue raft. "Live for me," Naomi had said. "Promise me you'll live." Maya had promised, and she had kept that promise even though sometimes she did not want to. Even though sometimes, like tonight, she wished she had drowned with her mother instead. At least then, she would not be alone. "Child?" A voice. Soft, gentle, different from all the other voices tonight. Maya blinked, coming back from the quiet place inside her head. An old man was standing in the kitchen doorway. He was wearing a server's uniform, but he looked too old to be working parties. His hair was white, his face lined with age, and his eyes were kind. "Child, are you all right?" Maya stared at him. No one had asked her that all night. No one had asked her that in months. "I don't know," she whispered. The old man came closer. He moved slowly, carefully, like he was approaching a wounded animal. When he reached her wheelchair, he knelt down so they were at eye level. "My name is Samuel Hout," he said. "Samuel Johnson. I live next door to this house. Been living there for 40 years, since before your daddy was born." Maya said nothing. "I saw what happened," Samuel continued. His voice was heavy with something that sounded like grief. "I saw what that woman did to you." "She's my stepmother." "I know who she is." Samuel reached into his pocket and pulled out a handkerchief. Gently, so gently, he began to wipe the dried soup from Maya's face. "I've seen her before. Seen how she treats you when she thinks no one is watching." Maya flinched at his touch, but he did not stop. His hands were wrinkled and spotted with age, but they were steady and kind. "Why doesn't anyone help me?" Maya asked. Her voice was small, lost. "Why does everyone just watch?" Samuel's eyes filled with tears. "Because they're afraid, child. Afraid of losing their jobs. Afraid of powerful people. Afraid of getting involved in someone else's pain." "Are you afraid?" "Yes." Samuel finished wiping her face and tucked the handkerchief back in his pocket. "But I'm old. I've lived my life. I've got nothing left to lose." He reached out and took her small hand in his. "And some things are more important than being afraid." "What things?" "Doing what's right." He squeezed her hand gently. "Protecting children. Standing up when everyone else sits down." Maya looked at the stranger, this old man who had shown her more kindness in 2 minutes than she had received in months. And for the first time all night, she felt something other than pain and fear. She felt hope. "My daddy is coming home," she said. "He was supposed to be in Chicago, but I think he's coming home." "How do you know?" "I just know." Maya's hand tightened around Samuel's. "He always knows when I need him, even when he's far away." Samuel smiled sadly. "Then we'll wait for him together." They did not have to wait long. The front door of the mansion slammed open at 11:47. Marcus Wellington stood in the doorway, his suit wrinkled from the flight, his face a mask of barely contained rage. He had not stopped at baggage claim. He had not waited for his driver. He had run through the airport, hailed a cab, and demanded to be taken home at whatever speed necessary. The party had begun to wind down, but there were still guests lingering in the main hall. They turned at the sound of the door, their conversations dying mid-sentence. Marcus did not see them. He did not see the champagne glasses, or the crystal chandeliers, or the elegant decorations. He saw only one thing. His daughter was not in the room. "Where is she?" His voice was not loud, but it carried. Everyone heard. Everyone felt the danger in it. Vanessa appeared from the crowd, her smile firmly in place. "Marcus, darling? What a wonderful surprise. I thought you were in Chicago. Where is Maya?" "She's resting. She wasn't feeling well, so I sent her to bed early. You know how fragile she is." Marcus looked at his wife. He looked at her beautiful face, her expensive dress, her perfect smile, and he saw the monster underneath. "I know what you did." Vanessa's smile flickered. Just for a second, just a crack in the mask, but Marcus saw it. "I don't know what you're talking about." "I saw the video, Vanessa." The color drained from her face. "What video?" "The video of you pouring boiling soup over my daughter's head." The room went silent. Absolutely, completely silent. Even the jazz quartet stopped playing. "That's ridiculous," Vanessa said. Her voice was still smooth, but there was a tremor underneath. "I would never hurt Maya. I love her like my own." "You love her like your own." Marcus took a step forward, then another. Vanessa took a step back. "You called her a curse. You called her a burden. You told her she should have died instead of her mother." "She's lying. She's a troubled child. She makes up stories." "The video doesn't lie." Marcus pulled out his phone and held it up. The screen showed the frozen image of Vanessa Bowl in hand standing over Maya's wheelchair. Vanessa stared at it. Her mask crumbled completely. "Marcus, I can explain. She was misbehaving. She embarrassed me in front of our guests. I lost my temper, but I never meant to hurt her. It was an accident." "An accident." Marcus's voice was ice. "You accidentally picked up a bowl of soup. You accidentally carried it to my daughter. You accidentally held it over her head and poured it onto her. Is that what you're telling me? You don't understand the pressure I've been under. You're never here. You leave me alone with her day after day, and she's so difficult, so demanding. I've sacrificed everything to take care of her while you build your empire. You've sacrificed nothing. Marcus was close to her now, close enough to see the fear in her eyes. Good, she should be afraid. You married me for my money. You tolerated my daughter because she came with the package, but you never loved her. You never even tried. That's not fair. Fair? Marcus laughed, but there was no humor in it. You want to talk about fair? My daughter is in that kitchen right now, covered in burns, crying alone because the woman who was supposed to protect her decided to torture her instead. Don't talk to me about fair. He turned away from Vanessa and strode toward the kitchen. The crowd parted before him like water. He found Maya in the corner, still in her wheelchair, still covered in dried soup. An old man was kneeling beside her, holding her hand. Daddy. Maya's face crumpled when she saw him. She reached out her arms, and Marcus fell to his knees, gathering her against his chest. He could feel the soup stiff in her hair. He could see the welts on her scalp. He could feel her small body shaking with sobs. I'm here, he whispered. Daddy's here. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry I wasn't here. She hurt me, Daddy. She hurt me so bad. I know. It's over now. She's never going to hurt you again. He lifted his head and looked at Samuel, who had risen to his feet. Thank you, Marcus said, for staying with her. Samuel nodded, his old eyes wet with tears. Someone had to. Marcus stood Maya still in his arms. She was too big to be carried like this, but he did not care. He would carry her forever if he had to. He walked back through the kitchen, through the main hall, past the staring guests. Vanessa was still standing where he had left her, Denise and Raymond, flanking her now, all three of them, pale and frightened. Marcus stopped in front of them. From this moment forward, he said, his voice carrying across the silent room, I will never touch my daughter again. You will not speak to her. You will not look at her. You will not be in the same room as her. Marcus, please. Vanessa reached for him. Let's talk about this in private. We can work this out. There is nothing to work out. Marcus pulled away from her touch. I want you out of my house by morning. You can't do this. I'm your wife. Not for long. He turned and walked toward the staircase, still carrying Maya. The guests watched in stunned silence. No one tried to stop him. No one said a word. Behind him, he heard Vanessa's voice rise in a wail of fury and despair. You'll regret this, Marcus. You'll regret choosing that crippled child over me. I'll destroy you. I'll take everything you have. Marcus did not turn around. He did not respond. He just kept walking up the stairs, down the hallway to Maya's bedroom. He laid her gently on the bed and pulled the covers up around her. Then he went to the bathroom and came back with warm water and clean towels. This might hurt a little, he said softly, but I need to clean the burns. Okay. Maya nodded. She was still crying, but quietly now. The terror was fading from her eyes, replaced by something else. Relief. Marcus began to gently wash the soup from her hair and face. The welts on her scalp were red and angry, some of them already blistering. He would need to call a doctor. He would need to get her proper medical care. But first, he needed to be here. He needed to hold her hand and let her know she was safe. Daddy? Yes, baby. Are you going to send me away? The question hit him like a physical blow. He set down the towel and took her face in his hands, looking directly into her eyes. Never. Do you hear me? Never. Mama said you would. She said I was a burden. She said everyone wished I had died instead of Mommy. Marcus felt something inside him shatter. Listen to me, Maya. Nothing that woman told you was true. Nothing. You are not a burden. You are my daughter. You are the most precious thing in my life. Really? Really? He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. Your mother loved you more than anything in this world. She gave her life so you could live. And I love you just as much. You are not a curse. You are a gift. The greatest gift your mother ever gave me. Maya clung to him, her small fingers gripping his jacket like she was afraid he would disappear. I miss Mommy, she whispered. I know, baby. I miss her too. Do you think she's watching us? Marcus looked at the window, at the darkness outside, at the stars beginning to appear in the night sky. Yes, he said. I think she's always watching, and I think she's proud of you. So proud of how brave you've been. I wasn't brave. I was scared. Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. Marcus kissed the top of her head. Being brave means you keep going even when you're terrified, and you've done that every single day for the past year. That makes you the bravest person I know. Maya was quiet for a long moment. Then she asked the question that would change everything. "Daddy, can I tell you something?" "You can tell me anything." "It wasn't just tonight." Her voice was barely a whisper. "She's been hurting me for a long time. She hits me, she says mean things. She told me if I ever told you, she would make sure I had an accident and no one would ever know." Marcus went very still. "What kind of accident?" "She said she would push me down the stairs. She said she would make it look like I fell out of my chair." Maya's tears were falling again. "I was so scared, Daddy. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to tell you, but I was afraid you wouldn't believe me." "I believe you." Marcus's voice was steady, but inside a rage unlike anything he had ever felt was building. "I believe everything you're telling me, and I promise you, Maya, I promise on your mother's memory that woman will never hurt you again. What are you going to do?" "Whatever I have to." He held her tighter. "Whatever it takes to protect you." Downstairs, the party had completely fallen apart. The remaining guests were leaving in a hurry, whispers spreading like wildfire. The scandal would be all over Atlanta by morning. Vanessa stood in the empty main hall surrounded by the wreckage of her birthday celebration. Her makeup was smeared from crying. Her beautiful purple dress suddenly seemed cheap and ridiculous. Denise and Raymond stood with her, their faces grim. "What are you going to do?" Denise asked. "I don't know." Vanessa's voice was hollow. "I don't know." "You need a lawyer," Raymond said. "A good one. If he has that video, you could be looking at criminal charges." "Criminal charges?" Vanessa's head snapped up. "For disciplining a child. For assault." Raymond shook his head. "You poured boiling soup on a disabled 6-year-old. That's not discipline. That's abuse." "She provoked me." "It doesn't matter. The video shows what it shows." Raymond pulled out his phone. "I'm calling Monica Hayes. She's the best defense attorney in the city. If anyone can get you out of this, she can." Vanessa nodded numbly. Then something shifted in her face. The despair hardened into something else. Something colder. "No, please," she said. "No, don't call a defense attorney." Vanessa's voice was stronger now, sharper. "Call an offensive one. We're not going to play defense. We're going to attack." Denise frowned. "Attack how?" "Marcus thinks he can throw me out of this house after everything I've done for him, after all the parties I've hosted, the clients I've charmed, the image I've built for his company." Vanessa laughed, and there was something unhinged in it. "He has no idea who he's dealing with." "Ness, maybe you should calm down." "I am calm." Vanessa turned to face her sister. "I am perfectly calm, and I'm going to destroy him." "How?" "The same way anyone destroys a powerful man these days." Vanessa smiled, and it was the most frightening thing either of them had ever seen. With the press, with public opinion, with lawyers and lies and headlines that will make everyone in the city turn against him. "He has the video," Raymond pointed out, "and I have something better." Vanessa walked to the bar and poured herself a drink. "I have a story, a sympathetic, tragic, believable story about a devoted wife who tried her best to care for a difficult, disabled child while her workaholic husband neglected them both. A story about a man who came home unannounced and flew into a rage over a minor accident. A story about a marriage destroyed by his obsession with his dead wife. Will anyone believe that? They'll believe what I tell them to believe." Vanessa drained her glass and set it down hard. "By the time I'm done, Marcus Wellington will be the villain, and I will be the victim." Upstairs, Maya had finally fallen asleep. Marcus sat on the edge of her bed, watching her breathe, memorizing the curve of her cheek, the flutter of her lashes. She looked so small, so fragile, so impossibly young to have endured so much. He had failed her. For a year he had failed her. But that ended tonight. He pulled out his phone and made a call. "Patricia, I need you to do something for me." "Anything, sir." "I need you to find every person in this house who saw what Vanessa did tonight. Staff, caterers, servers, everyone. I need their names and their contact information." "Yes, sir." "And Patricia?" "Yes." "Thank you for sending me that video, for looking out for Maya when I wasn't here." There was a pause. When Patricia spoke again, her voice was thick with emotion. "That little girl deserves better than what she's been getting. I'm just glad you're finally home to give it to her." Marcus ended the call and looked at his daughter again. "I'm going to make this right," he whispered to her sleeping form. "I don't know how yet, but I'm going to make this right." Outside the window, the last of the party guests were driving away, their taillights disappearing into the night. The mansion was quiet now, empty except for the people who lived there. And somewhere in the darkness, in a corner of the kitchen, where no one thought to look, Samuel Johnson picked up his phone and saved a copy of the video Rosa had recorded. He had lived next door to the Wellingtons for 40 years. He had watched Marcus grow up. He had danced at his first wedding. He had cried at Naomi's funeral. And he had seen things in this house over the past year that had made him sick to his stomach. Tonight, those things had finally come to light. But Samuel knew with the certainty of a man who had lived long enough to see how the world really worked that this was only the beginning. The rich and powerful did not go down easily. They fought back. They lied. They twisted the truth until it was unrecognizable. Vanessa Sterling Wellington would not accept defeat. She would counterattack. She would scheme. She would do everything in her power to destroy Marcus and keep her grip on the money and status she had married him for. And caught in the middle of that war would be a 6-year-old girl in a wheelchair, a girl who had already lost her mother, a girl who had already been broken so many times. Samuel looked down at the video on his phone, at the image of Maya screaming soup streaming down her face, hands clawing helplessly at her burning skin. This video was evidence. Evidence that could put Vanessa behind bars. Evidence that could protect Maya from ever being hurt by that woman again. But evidence could be suppressed. Witnesses could be intimidated. Lawyers could spin stories that turned victims into villains and villains into victims. Samuel was old. He had seen it happen before. But he had also seen something tonight that gave him hope. He had seen a father drop everything and fly across the country because his child needed him. He had seen a man look at his wife with cold fury and choose his daughter without hesitation. Marcus Wellington had finally woken up, and if Samuel had anything to say about it, he would stay awake. He would fight. He would protect that little girl the way he should have been protecting her all along. Samuel tucked his phone into his pocket and walked out of the mansion into the cool Atlanta night. Tomorrow, the real battle would begin, but tonight at least Maya was safe. For now. I'll craft a high-intensity narrative that captures the emotional complexity and escalating tension, weaving together multiple character perspectives with rapid-fire pacing and strategic time markers to maintain audience engagement. The next morning came too quickly. Marcus had not slept. He had spent the entire night in a chair beside Maya's bed, watching her breathe, watching for any sign of distress. Every time she whimpered in her sleep, he reached for her hand. Every time she cried out, he whispered that she was safe, that Daddy was here, that nothing bad would happen to her anymore. At 6:15, his phone rang. "Mr. Wellington," Patricia's voice was urgent, "you need to see this. Turn on the news, Channel 5. Marcus walked to the living room, keeping his footsteps quiet so he would not wake Maya. He found the remote and turned on the television. His stomach dropped. Vanessa's face filled the screen. She was sitting in what looked like a hotel suite, tears streaming down her cheeks, a tissue clutched in her perfectly manicured hand. A reporter sat across from her, leaning forward with practiced sympathy. "I just don't understand how this happened," Vanessa was saying. "I gave everything to that family. I tried so hard to be a good mother to Maya, even though she resented me from the first day I married her father." "Can you tell us what happened last night?" the reporter asked. "Marcus came home early from his business trip. He was drunk, aggressive. He started screaming at me in front of all our guests. He accused me of things I never did." Vanessa dabbed at her eyes. "I was trying to help Maya. She had spilled something on herself, and I was cleaning her up, but Marcus twisted it into something ugly." Marcus felt his blood turn to ice. "Are you saying the abuse allegations are false?" "There were no abuse allegations until Marcus decided he wanted me out of the picture." Vanessa shook her head sadly. "He's been looking for an excuse to divorce me without paying alimony. He's using that poor child as a pawn in his scheme." "What about the video that's been circulating online?" "That video is edited, taken out of context. Anyone with basic editing skills could make it look like something it wasn't." Vanessa looked directly at the camera. "I love Maya. I would never hurt her. I'm the victim here, not the villain." Marcus turned off the television. For a long moment, he stood there staring at the blank screen, his hands shaking with rage. She was lying. She was lying to the entire city, and she was doing it with tears in her eyes and a tissue in her hand, and people were going to believe her. His phone rang again. "Patricia? I saw it." "Sir, that's not all. She's already filed for a temporary restraining order against you. She's claiming you threatened her life last night, and she's hired Monica Hayes. The most ruthless divorce attorney in Atlanta. She's never lost a case." Marcus closed his eyes. "What else? The story is already spreading. Every major outlet is picking it up. By noon, your name will be trending for all the wrong reasons." "What about our video, the real one?" "I've sent it to 3 different news stations. None of them will run it." Why not? Monica Hayes has already contacted them. She's threatening defamation lawsuits against anyone who airs footage that contradicts her client's statement. Patricia paused. Sir, she's good. She's really good. Marcus thought about Maya asleep upstairs, burned still fresh on her scalp. He thought about the fear in her eyes when she asked if he was going to send her away. He thought about all the months he had left her alone with that monster. I don't care how good she is, he said. I'm better. Sir, get me Michael Grant, the civil rights attorney. The one who took down Senator Morrison, the one who exposed the corruption in the foster care system. Get me Michael Grant. Sir, he doesn't usually take divorce cases. This isn't a divorce case. Marcus's voice hardened. This is a child abuse case, and I don't care what it costs. I don't care what I have to do. That woman is not going to get away with what she did to my daughter. By 8:30, Maya was awake. Marcus heard her crying before he reached her room. He pushed open the door and found her sitting up in bed, her hands touching her scalp, tears running down her face. It hurts, Daddy. He was beside her in an instant. I know, baby, I know. The doctor is coming this morning. She's going to give you medicine to help with the pain. I had bad dreams. What kind of dreams? Maya's lower lip trembled. I dreamed Mama was pouring soup on me again, but this time you didn't come. You never came. Marcus pulled her into his arms, careful not to touch her burns. I'm here now. I'm not going anywhere. Promise. I promise. They sat together until the doorbell rang. Marcus went downstairs and opened the door to find Dr. Lisa Robinson, a pediatrician Patricia had called first thing this morning. Mr. Wellington? Dr. Robinson shook his hand. I came as quickly as I could. Thank you for coming on a Sunday. When Patricia told me what happened, I canceled everything else. Dr. Robinson's expression was grim. Where is she? Marcus led her upstairs. Maya shrank back when she saw the stranger, but Dr. Robinson approached slowly, kneeling beside the bed. Hi, Maya. My name is Dr. Lisa. I'm here to help you feel better. Is that okay? Maya looked at her father. He nodded. Okay, she whispered. Dr. Robinson examined the burns gently, her face growing more serious with each passing moment. When she finished, she turned to Marcus. Can we speak privately? They stepped into the hallway. Dr. Robinson's voice was low. These are second-degree burns, Mr. Wellington. Multiple areas of blistering on the scalp, some minor burns on the face and neck. She's lucky it wasn't worse. Will she be okay? Physically, yes. With proper care, the burns should heal within 2 to 3 weeks. Dr. Robinson paused. But Mr. Wellington, I have to ask. This wasn't the first time, was it? Marcus felt his chest tighten. What do you mean? When I examined her, I found other marks. Faded bruises on her arms and back. Old ones mostly healed, consistent with being grabbed or struck repeatedly over time. The words hit Marcus like a fist to the stomach. I didn't know, he said. His voice cracked. I didn't know it was happening. She never told you. She was afraid. Vanessa threatened her. She said she would make it look like an accident. Dr. Robinson's expression hardened. I'm a mandatory reporter, Mr. Wellington. I have to document these injuries and file a report with Child Protective Services. I understand. I also need to recommend that Maya see a child psychologist. The physical wounds will heal, but the emotional trauma... Dr. Robinson shook her head. That takes much longer. Whatever she needs, whatever it takes. Dr. Robinson reached out and touched his arm. For what it's worth, Mr. Wellington, I can see how much you love her, and I can see how much she loves you. That's going to matter more than anything in the days ahead. By 10:15, the first reporters had gathered outside the mansion gates. Marcus watched them from the window, their cameras and microphones pointed at his home like weapons. Vanessa's interview had done its work. Now they were here for his side of the story, hungry for drama, eager to tear apart whoever made the best target. His phone rang, a number he did not recognize. Mr. Wellington, this is Derek Thompson from the Atlanta Tribune. I was hoping you could comment on your wife's allegations. No comment. Sir, she's saying some very serious things. Don't you want to defend yourself? I said no comment. He ended the call. Immediately his phone rang again. Different number, different reporter, same questions. He turned off his phone. At 11, Patricia arrived with Michael Grant. Michael was a tall man in his 50s, with gray hair and sharp eyes that seemed to see everything. He carried a leather briefcase and walked with the quiet confidence of someone who had won more battles than he had lost. Mr. Wellington. He shook Marcus's hand. "Patricia has told me everything." "May I see the video?" Marcus showed him. Michael watched it 3 times without speaking. When it finished, he set down the phone and looked at Marcus. "This is clear evidence of assault on a minor. With this footage, we can pursue criminal charges as well as civil ones." "Then why won't anyone air it?" "Because Monica Hayes has deep connections in this city. She's already controlling the narrative." Michael leaned forward. "But narratives can be changed, Mr. Wellington. It just takes the right evidence and the right witnesses." "What kind of witnesses?" "People who saw the abuse. People who can corroborate your daughter's story. The more voices we have, the harder it becomes for anyone to dismiss this as a he said, she said situation. There were hundreds of guests at that party. Most of them won't want to get involved. The wealthy protect the wealthy." Michael pulled a notepad from his briefcase. "But there are others. Staff members who worked in the house. Neighbors who might have seen or heard something. Family members who can speak to Maya's condition before and after Vanessa entered her life. Family members." Marcus thought of someone he had not spoken to in over a year. "Naomi had a brother," he said slowly. "Jerome Davis. We lost touch after the funeral." "Why?" "Because I was too busy drowning in my own grief to maintain the relationship." Marcus rubbed his face with his hands. "Because I abandoned everyone who reminded me of what I'd lost." "Can you reach him?" "I can try." Michael nodded. "Try. In the meantime, I'll start building our case. Patricia, I need access to all household records, employment files, security footage, financial transactions, everything." "I can get those." "Good." Michael stood. "Mr. Wellington, I won't lie to you. Monica Hayes is formidable. She's already ahead of us, and she's going to fight dirty. But I've beaten her before, and I can beat her again." "What do you need from me?" "The truth. Every detail, no matter how painful. And most importantly..." Michael looked toward the stairs, toward where Maya was resting. "I need to talk to your daughter." Marcus's jaw tightened. "She's been through enough." "I know, but her testimony is the strongest weapon we have. She's the victim. Her voice matters more than anyone else's." "She's 6 years old." "And that's exactly why people will believe her." Michael's voice softened. "I won't push her, Mr. Wellington. I won't traumatize her further. But when she's ready, she needs to tell her story." Marcus was silent for a long moment. "Let me talk to her first," he finally said. By noon, the protesters had arrived. Marcus did not know where they had come from or who had organized them, but suddenly there were 50 people outside his gates, holding signs that said "Protect Vanessa" and "Justice for Abused Wives," and "Shame on Marcus Wellington." He watched them from the window, his stomach churning. Vanessa was winning. She was winning the story, and if he did not find a way to fight back, she would win everything. "Daddy." He turned. Maya was in the doorway, Patricia standing behind her with her wheelchair. "Baby, you should be resting." "I can't sleep." Maya wheeled herself closer to the window. She looked at the crowd outside, at the signs, at the cameras. "Why are those people angry at you?" Marcus knelt down beside her. "Because someone told them a lie. Someone told them I was the one who hurt you. But that's not true. I know, and we're going to prove it, but it might take some time." "Are they going to take you away from me?" The fear in her voice broke his heart. "No, baby. Nobody is taking me anywhere." "Promise?" "I promise." Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that surprised him. "I want to help." "What?" "I want to tell them the truth. I want to tell everyone what she did to me." "Maya, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go through that." "But I want to." Her small hands gripped the armrests of her wheelchair. "I'm tired of being scared. I'm tired of hiding. She told me no one would believe me, but you believe me. Dr. Lisa believes me. Maybe other people will believe me too." Marcus looked at his daughter, at this tiny girl who had endured more pain in 6 years than most people faced in a lifetime. She was not just scared, she was angry, and that anger was giving her courage. "Are you sure?" he asked. "I'm sure." He hugged her gently. "Then we'll do it together. Whatever happens, we'll face it together." At 1:30, Marcus made the call he had been dreading. Jerome Davis answered on the third ring. "Hello. Jerome, it's Marcus. Marcus Wellington." Silence. Then, "I know who you are. I need to talk to you. It's about Maya." "Maya?" Jerome's voice shifted from cold to concerned. "What about her? Is she okay?" "No." Marcus's voice broke. "No, she's not okay. She hasn't been okay for a long time, and I didn't know. I didn't see it." What are you talking about? Marcus told him everything. The abuse, the soup, the burns, the threats, all of it, every terrible detail, while Jerome listened in silence on the other end. When he finished, there was a long pause. I should have said something, Jerome finally said. His voice was heavy with guilt. I saw things, Marcus. When I visited last Christmas, I saw how that woman looked at Maya. I saw bruises on her arms that she said came from falling out of her chair. I wanted to believe her, but I knew. Deep down, I knew. Why didn't you tell me? Because you were never there, Jerome's voice rose. Every time I called, you were in some other city closing some other deal. I tried to talk to you at Naomi's memorial, and you brushed me off. I sent you emails that you never answered. You shut everyone out, Marcus. Everyone who could have helped you, who could have helped Maya, you pushed us all away. You're right. Marcus's voice was barely a whisper. You're right about everything. I failed her. I failed Naomi. Yes, you did. But I'm trying to make it right now. I'm trying to protect her, and I need your help. Another pause. Then, what do you need? I need you to testify. I need you to tell them what you saw, what you suspected. I need someone who can speak to how Maya was before Vanessa came into her life. Will it help her? It might save her. Jerome was silent for so long that Marcus thought he had hung up. Then, I'll be there tomorrow. Jerome, thank you. Don't thank me. Naomi was my sister. Maya is my niece. I should have protected her a long time ago. Jerome's voice cracked. I won't fail her again. By 3 p.m, Vanessa had given 2 more interviews. Marcus watched neither of them, but Patricia summarized more tears, more accusations, more carefully constructed lies. Vanessa was painting herself as the victim of a controlling husband, an ungrateful stepdaughter, and a media conspiracy designed to destroy her. She's claiming you forced her to sign a prenup under duress, Patricia reported. She's saying you kept her isolated from her family. She's saying Maya was violent and difficult, and anything she did was in self-defense. Self-defense against a 6-year-old in a wheelchair. I know, sir, but some people are believing it. Marcus looked out the window. The crowd had grown. More signs, more cameras, more people ready to condemn him without hearing his side. What about Rosa? He asked. The server who recorded the video. I've been trying to reach her all day. She's not answering her phone. Find her. We need her testimony. Sir, there's something else. Patricia hesitated. I got a call from Bernard, the head chef. He says Vanessa's lawyer contacted him this morning. She offered him $50,000 to say the video was staged. What did he say? He said no, but he also said he won't testify for us either. He just wants to stay out of it. Marcus nodded grimly. What about the other staff? Same story. They're all scared. They don't want to go up against Monica Hayes. So we have no witnesses. We have Jerome, and we have Maya. Patricia paused. And we have someone else. Who? Samuel Johnson, the old man who stayed with Maya in the kitchen. He's been calling all morning. He says he wants to help. Call him back. Tell him I want to meet with him tonight. By 5 o'clock, Maya's art teacher called. Marcus did not know Angela Brooks. He had never attended a parent-teacher conference, never picked Maya up from school, never bothered to learn the names of the people who spent more time with his daughter than he did. Mr. Wellington, my name is Angela Brooks. I teach art at Maya's school. Yes? I saw the news this morning, the things they're saying about you about Maya, and I had to call. Angela's voice was shaking. Because they're lying. That woman is lying. Marcus straightened up. What do you mean? I've had Maya in my class for 8 months. I've watched her change Mr. Wellington. When she first came to me, she was quiet but happy. She drew pictures of sunshine and flowers and her mother in heaven. But over the past few months, something shifted. Her drawings got darker. Houses with no doors. Little girls trapped behind bars. Shadows everywhere. Did she ever say anything to you? Not directly, but I asked her once why all her pictures were so sad, and she said something I'll never forget. Angela paused. She said, Miss Angela, some houses look beautiful on the outside, but have monsters inside. Marcus closed his eyes. I should have reported it, Angela continued. I should have called someone, done something, but I didn't have proof, and I was afraid of being wrong, and now... Her voice broke. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't protect her. You can protect her now, Marcus said. Will you testify? Yes, absolutely. Whatever you need. Do you still have her drawings? I have all of them. I keep portfolios for every student. Can you bring them to me tonight if possible? I'll be there within the hour." At 6:15, Samuel Johnson arrived at the back entrance. Patricia led him in quietly away from the reporters still gathered at the front gate. He was wearing the same clothes Marcus had seen him in the night before, and his face was drawn with exhaustion. "Mr. Wellington?" Samuel shook his hand firmly. "I've been praying all day that you'd let me help." "Sit down, Mr. Johnson. Tell me what you know." "I've lived next door to this house for 40 years. Samuel settled into a chair, his old bones creaking. "I watched you grow up. I was at your first wedding. I held Maya the day she came home from the hospital." "I remember." "After Naomi passed, God rest her soul, I kept an eye on things. I knew you were hurting. I knew you were burying yourself in work. I didn't judge. Everyone grieves in their own way. But then that woman moved in." Samuel's jaw tightened. "And I started seeing things, hearing things. Maya crying at night, Vanessa screaming at her during the day. Once I saw that woman push Maya's wheelchair so hard the child nearly tipped over. I heard her call Maya a cripple, a burden, a curse on your family. Why didn't you come to me?" "I tried." Samuel's eyes were wet. 3 months ago I came to your front door. I told the maid I needed to speak with you urgently, but you were traveling and Vanessa intercepted my message. She came to my house that night. What did she say? She said if I ever spread lies about her again, she would have me arrested for trespassing. She said she would destroy my reputation, make sure no one in this neighborhood ever spoke to me again. Samuel's voice shook. "I'm an old man, Mr. Wellington. I was scared, so I stayed quiet. But not anymore. No, not anymore." Samuel reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. "After you took Maya upstairs last night, I went back to the kitchen. One of the servers had recorded what happened. She showed me. I made her send me a copy." "You have the video." "I have everything." Samuel met his eyes. "And I'll testify to what I've seen, what I've heard, all of it. Even if Vanessa's lawyers try to discredit you. Let them try." Samuel's chin lifted. "I've lived 82 years, and I've never once gone back on my word. I'm not going to start now." By 7:30, Angela Brooks arrived with a folder of drawings. She spread them across the dining room table, and Marcus felt his heart break all over again. Page after page of darkness. Houses with no windows, little girls with no faces, shadows that loomed and threatened. "This one," Angela said, pointing to a drawing of a wheelchair at the bottom of a staircase. "She drew this 3 weeks ago. I asked her what it meant, and she said it was a bad dream." "It wasn't a dream," Marcus said quietly. "Vanessa threatened to push her down the stairs." "My God. Is there anything else? Anything she drew that might show what was happening to her?" Angela flipped through the stack and pulled out another drawing. This one showed a little girl sitting alone in a corner, her hands over her ears, while a tall figure in a purple dress stood over her with fire coming out of her mouth. "Purple was Vanessa's favorite color," Marcus said. "I noticed that too." Angela touched the drawing gently. "Maya never drew her with a face, but the purple dress appears in at least a dozen pictures. These will be important for the case. Take them. Take all of them." Angela looked at Marcus with fierce determination. "That little girl deserves justice, and I'm going to make sure she gets it." At 8:45, Marcus went upstairs to check on Maya. She was awake, sitting in bed, holding a photograph in her hands. Marcus recognized it immediately. Naomi laughing, her arms wrapped around a baby, Maya, both of them soaked with sunshine. "Daddy?" Maya looked up. "Do you think Mommy knows what happened to me?" Marcus sat on the edge of the bed. "I think she knows everything." "Is she sad?" "Maybe a little, but I think she's also proud." "Proud? Why?" "Because you survived." Marcus took her hand. "Because even when things were terrible, even when you were scared and alone, you kept going. You kept living. That's exactly what your mother wanted for you." Maya looked at the photograph again. "I miss her so much." "I miss her too, baby, every single day." "Do you think she would have stopped Vanessa?" "Yes." Marcus's voice was firm. "Your mother would have never let anyone hurt you, and I'm sorry I wasn't here to do the same. It's not your fault, Daddy." "Yes, it is. I should have seen what was happening. I should have protected you." "You're protecting me now." Maya squeezed his hand. "That's what matters." They sat together in silence for a while. Then Maya spoke again. "Daddy, there's something I didn't tell you." "What?" "Sometimes when Vanessa was really angry, she would lock me in my room for hours. She would take my wheelchair and put it in the hallway so I couldn't get out of bed. She would tell me I had to learn my place. Marcus felt rage building in his chest, white hot and consuming. How often? Every time you were traveling, every time you weren't home. Why didn't you tell someone, a teacher, Patricia? Because she said if I told anyone, she would hurt me worse. She said she would make it look like an accident, and no one would believe a crippled child over the lady of the house. Marcus pulled Maya into his arms, holding her tight. I believe you. I will always believe you, and I swear to you, Maya, that woman is going to pay for what she did. Promise. I promise. At 10:15, Marcus's phone rang. He did not recognize the number, but something made him answer. Mr. Wellington. A young woman's voice, scared and breathless. This is Rosa Martinez. I was the server at the party. Rosa, I've been trying to reach you. I know, I'm sorry, I've been hiding. After that lawyer contacted the head chef, I got scared. I thought they were going to come after me. Are you safe? For now, but Mr. Wellington, I have to tell you something. The video I recorded, I didn't just send it to my phone. I uploaded it to a cloud server. I have the original unedited with the timestamp and everything. Can you get it to me? Yes, but that's not all. Rosa's voice dropped to a whisper. After the party, while everyone was cleaning up, I heard Vanessa talking to her sister. They didn't know I was there. What did they say? They were planning something about making Maya disappear. Marcus's blood went cold. What do you mean, disappear? I don't know exactly, but Denise said something about finding a facility far away somewhere no one would look, and Vanessa said... Rosa paused. She said if Marcus tried to fight her, she would make sure he never saw his daughter again. Where are you, Rosa? I'm at my cousin's apartment. I can come to you tomorrow, bring the video, tell you everything I heard. Come tonight. I'll send a car. Are you sure it's safe? Marcus looked toward Maya's room, toward his daughter sleeping peacefully for the first time in months. Nothing about this is safe, he said, but we don't have a choice anymore. By midnight, Rosa was in the Wellington mansion, the original video transferred to Marcus's lawyer, her statement recorded and witnessed. Michael Grant reviewed everything, his face growing grimmer by the minute. This changes things, he said. If we can prove Vanessa was planning to have Maya removed from your custody, we have grounds for emergency intervention. What kind of intervention? We can petition the court to have her visitation rights revoked. We can argue that she poses an immediate threat to Maya's safety. Michael looked at Marcus. But we need to move fast. If Vanessa's lawyers get wind of this, they'll accelerate their own timeline. How fast? Tomorrow morning. First thing. I'll file the emergency petition and request a hearing within 48 hours. And if the judge rules against us? Michael was quiet for a moment. Then we go to trial. We put everything on the record, the video, the witnesses, Maya's testimony. We make it impossible for anyone to ignore what happened. Will it be enough? I don't know. Michael gathered his papers. But it's the best chance we have. After everyone left, Marcus sat alone in the dark living room, listening to the silence of his house. Everything had changed in 24 hours. His marriage was over. His reputation was in shreds. His daughter was upstairs, burned and traumatized, finally finding peace in sleep. And somewhere out there, Vanessa was planning her next move. Marcus looked at the photograph on the mantel. Naomi smiling at him on their wedding day. She had been so beautiful, so full of life. She had loved him and Maya more than anything in the world. And she had trusted him to protect their daughter when she was gone. I'm sorry, he whispered to her image. I'm so sorry I failed you. But even as he spoke, he felt something shifting inside him. The guilt was still there, heavy and suffocating. But beneath it, something else was growing. Determination. He had failed before, but he would not fail again. Tomorrow the real fight would begin. And this time Marcus Wellington would not back down. He would not rest until his daughter was safe, until Vanessa paid for every tear she had caused, until justice was finally served. I need to maintain the momentum and add timestamps throughout. The Fulton County Courthouse opened its doors at 8:30 on Tuesday morning. Marcus arrived at 7:45 with Maya beside him in her wheelchair. Patricia pushed her through the back entrance away from the reporters already gathering at the front steps. Michael Grant met them in the hallway, his face tense but determined. The emergency hearing is set for 9, he said. Judge Dorothy Coleman is presiding. Is that good or bad? It's good. She's fair. She's also a grandmother. When she sees Maya, when she hears what happened, she won't be swayed by Monica Hayes' theatrics. Maya tugged on her father's sleeve. Daddy, I'm scared. Marcus knelt down beside her wheelchair. I know, baby, but remember what we talked about? You don't have to say anything you don't want to say. You just have to tell the truth. What if they don't believe me? They will. He squeezed her hand. Because the truth is on our side. At 8:50, the courtroom began to fill. Marcus sat at the plaintiff's table with Michael Grant. Maya was beside him, within her small hands gripping the armrests of her wheelchair. Behind them, Patricia Samuel Johnson, Angela Brooks, Jerome Davis, and Rosa Martinez took their seats in the gallery. On the other side of the courtroom, Vanessa swept in wearing a black dress that made her look like a grieving widow. Monica Hayes walked beside her, tall and sharp-featured, carrying a briefcase that probably cost more than most people's cars. Denise and Raymond followed close behind, their expressions smug. Vanessa did not look at Marcus. She did not look at Maya. She kept her eyes forward. Her chin lifted the picture of wounded dignity. All rise, the bailiff announced. The Honorable Judge Dorothy Coleman presiding. Judge Coleman entered and took her seat. She was a stern-looking black woman in her 60s with silver hair and glasses that made her eyes look larger and more penetrating. She glanced at both tables, then at Maya in her wheelchair, and something flickered across her face. Be seated? She opened the file before her. We are here for an emergency hearing in the matter of Wellington versus Wellington. Mr. Grant, you filed the petition. Please proceed. Michael stood. Your Honor, we are here to request an emergency protective order for Maya Wellington, age 6, against Vanessa Sterling Wellington. We have evidence that Mrs. Wellington has been systematically abusing this child for the past year, culminating in a violent assault 3 nights ago. That's a lie, Vanessa whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. Monica Hayes placed a calming hand on her client's arm. Your Honor, Monica said, rising gracefully, my client categorically denies these allegations. This is nothing more than a vindictive husband using his disabled daughter as a pawn in what will obviously become a contentious divorce. We have video evidence, Michael said. Edited and taken out of context, Monica countered. We have multiple witnesses. Paid or coerced, no doubt? Judge Coleman struck her gavel. Enough, both of you. This is not a circus. She turned to Michael. Mr. Grant, present your evidence. Your Honor, I would like to submit into evidence a video recording taken at the Wellington residence on Saturday night. The courtroom screen flickered to life, and then everyone watched. 37 seconds. That was all it took. Vanessa pouring the soup, Maya screaming, the steam rising from her scalded skin. The words, "That's what happens to little curses who embarrass me in front of my guests." When the video ended, the courtroom was silent. Maya was crying softly, her face buried against her father's arm. Marcus held her tight, his jaw clenched, his eyes burning with suppressed rage. Judge Coleman removed her glasses and set them on the bench. Her face was unreadable. Mrs. Hayes, do you have a response? Monica stood slowly. Your Honor, as I stated, this video has been edited. My client was merely disciplining a difficult child who had caused significant disruption at an important social event. The soup was not as hot as it appears. My client acted out of frustration, not malice. Not as hot as it appears. Michael held up a photograph. These are Maya's burns, Your Honor, 2nd degree, multiple blisters on the scalp, face, and neck, documented by Dr. Lisa Robinson the morning after the assault. He passed the photographs to the bailiff, who handed them to the judge. Judge Coleman studied them for a long moment. Then she looked at Maya. Young lady, she said, her voice softer now. Can you come here? Maya looked at her father. He nodded. Patricia wheeled her forward until she was directly in front of the judge's bench. Maya? Judge Coleman said, I need to ask you some questions. You don't have to be scared. Just tell me the truth. Can you do that? Maya nodded, her lower lip trembling. Did your stepmother pour hot soup on you? Yes, ma'am. Did she do it on purpose? Yes, ma'am. Has she hurt you before? Maya's eyes welled with tears. She looked back at her father, then at Vanessa, then at the judge. Yes, ma'am, she whispered. Lots of times. Can you tell me how? She hit me. She called me names. She locked me in my room and took my wheelchair so I couldn't get out of bed. Maya's voice was shaking now, but she kept going. She told me I was a curse. She told me everyone wished I had died instead of my mommy. The courtroom was absolutely still. Judge Coleman leaned forward. Did you ever tell your father? No, ma'am. Why not? Because she said if I told anyone, she would make me have an accident. She said she would push me down the stairs and everyone would think I fell. A gasp rippled through the gallery. Vanessa's face went pale. "That's a lie," she shouted, jumping to her feet. "That child is a manipulative little—" "Mrs. Wellington," Judge Coleman's voice cracked like a whip. "You will be silent, or I will have you removed from this courtroom." Monica Hayes pulled Vanessa back down into her seat, whispering urgently in her ear. Judge Coleman turned back to Maya. Her voice was gentle again. "Thank you, sweetheart. You were very brave. You can go back to your father now." Patricia wheeled Maya back to the plaintiff's table. Marcus gathered her into his arm, holding her tight. "Your Honor," Michael said, "we have additional witnesses who can corroborate Maya's testimony." "Proceed." Jerome Davis took the stand first. "State your name and your relationship to the child." "Jerome Davis, I'm Maya's uncle. Her mother, Naomi, was my sister." "Mr. Davis, have you witnessed Mrs. Wellington's treatment of Maya?" "Yes, sir." Jerome's voice was heavy with emotion. "Last Christmas, I visited the house. I saw bruises on Maya's arms that she said came from falling out of her wheelchair. But I knew that wasn't true. I saw how Vanessa looked at her when she thought no one was watching, like she hated her. Did you report your concerns?" "I tried." Jerome looked at Marcus with guilt in his eyes. "I tried to reach Marcus, but he was always traveling, and Vanessa intercepted my calls, my emails. She made sure I couldn't get through." "Why didn't you contact Child Protective Services, huh?" "Because I was a coward." Jerome's voice broke. "Because I told myself I didn't have proof. Because I was afraid of what it would do to my relationship with Marcus, with the family." Tears streamed down his face. "I should have done more. I should have protected my niece." Angela Brooks testified next. She showed Maya's drawings to the court one by one. Houses with no doors. Little girls trapped behind bars. A wheelchair at the bottom of a staircase. A tall figure in a purple dress with fire coming out of her mouth. "In 8 months of teaching Maya," Angela said, "I watched her transform from a quiet but happy child into a shell of herself." She stopped smiling. She stopped talking to other children. She drew these pictures, these cries for help, and I didn't listen. "Did she ever say anything directly to you?" "Once. I asked her why her pictures were so sad, and she said, 'Miss Angela, some houses look beautiful on the outside but have monsters inside.'" Samuel Johnson was the oldest witness and perhaps the most powerful. "I've lived next door to the Wellingtons for 40 years, he said. "I watched Marcus grow up. I was at his first wedding. I held Maya the day she came home from the hospital." "What did you observe about Mrs. Wellington's treatment of Maya?" "I heard screaming, Maya crying at night, Vanessa shouting terrible things during the day. I saw that woman push Maya's wheelchair so hard the child nearly tipped over. I heard her call Maya a cripple, a burden, a curse." "Did you report this?" "I tried, but Vanessa threatened me. She said she would destroy my reputation, have me arrested for trespassing." "Dave!" Samuel's chin lifted. "I'm 82 years old. I've lived my life, but I will not let that woman hurt that child anymore." Finally, Rosa Martinez took the stand. "I was serving at the party that night," she said. "I saw everything. I saw Mrs. Wellington pour the soup on Maya. I heard what she said, and I recorded it." "You recorded the original video?" "Yes, sir, on my phone. The original, unedited, with the timestamp and everything." "Did anyone ask you to alter or hide this video?" Rosa hesitated. "Mrs. Wellington's lawyer contacted the head chef the next day. She offered him $50,000 to say the video was staged." The courtroom erupted. Judge Coleman struck her gavel repeatedly. "Order, order in this court." When the noise subsided, Monica Hayes stood. "Your Honor, I move to strike that last statement. It's hearsay and completely unsubstantiated." "It's not hearsay if the witness heard it directly," Michael countered. "I'll allow it," Judge Coleman said. "But I want corroboration." "We have it, Your Honor. We have a signed statement from the head chef confirming he was approached with the bribe." Michael handed the document to the bailiff. Monica Hayes' face tightened. For the first time, she looked uncertain. "Your Honor," she said, "may I request a brief recess to confer with my client?" "Denied." Judge Coleman's voice was cold. "You've had ample time to prepare. We will continue." At 12:15, Monica Hayes presented Vanessa's defense. It was exactly what Marcus had expected. Vanessa was portrayed as a devoted stepmother who had sacrificed her own happiness to care for a difficult disabled child. Marcus was painted as an absent workaholic who had abandoned his daughter and his wife. The abuse allegations were dismissed as exaggerations and fabrications. Vanessa took the stand. "I loved Maya like my own daughter," she said, tears streaming down her face. I tried so hard to connect with her, but she resented me from the start. She blamed me for taking her mother's place. And the incident with the soup. It was an accident. I was trying to clean her up after she spilled something on herself. The bowl slipped. I would never intentionally harm a child. What about the other allegations? The hitting, the verbal abuse, the threats. All lies. Vanessa dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. Maya is a troubled child. She makes up stories for attention. Her therapist can confirm that she has a history of fabricating incidents. Michael stood for cross-examination. Mrs. Wellington, you claim the soup incident was an accident. Is that correct? Yes. Then can you explain why in the video you are clearly holding the bowl over Maya's head before tilting it? I was trying to help her. I didn't realize. Can you explain why you said, and I quote, "That's what happens to little curses who embarrass me in front of my guests"? Vanessa's composure cracked. I was frustrated. I said things I didn't mean. You called a 6-year-old child a curse. You poured boiling soup on her head, and you claim this was accidental. You're twisting my words. I'm reading your words directly from the video transcript. Michael held up the document. Would you like me to play it again for the court? No, Vanessa's voice was sharp. That won't be necessary. Mrs. Wellington Rosa Martinez testified that she overheard you and your sister discussing plans to make Maya disappear. Can you explain what that means? Vanessa's face went white. I never said that. She claims you discussed sending Maya to a facility far away somewhere no one would look. That's a complete fabrication. So Rosa Martinez is lying. Yes. And Angela Brooks is lying about Maya's drawings. The child is disturbed. She draws dark pictures because she's emotionally unstable. And Samuel Johnson is lying about what he witnessed. He's a senile old man who doesn't know what he saw. And Jerome Davis is lying about the bruises he observed. Vanessa's voice rose. Everyone is lying. Everyone except me. The courtroom fell silent. Michael let the moment hang. Then he turned to the judge. No further questions, Your Honor. At 2:30, both sides delivered closing arguments. Monica Hayes spoke first. She was eloquent, passionate, and completely unconvincing. She portrayed Vanessa as a victim of a smear campaign, a woman who had been unfairly maligned by a vindictive husband and his paid witnesses. She asked the court to dismiss the petition and grant Vanessa temporary custody of Maya while the divorce proceedings continued. Michael Grant's closing was different. He did not appeal to emotion. He simply laid out the facts. Your Honor, we have presented video evidence of assault. We have presented medical documentation of injuries. We have presented multiple witnesses who corroborated Maya's account of systematic abuse. And we have presented testimony from the victim herself, a 6-year-old girl who was brave enough to tell the truth despite being terrified of retaliation. He paused, looking at Vanessa. The defense has offered no evidence. Only denials? Only attacks on the credibility of witnesses. Only tears and theatrical displays designed to manipulate this court. He turned back to Judge Coleman. This is not a difficult case, Your Honor. A child was abused. The abuse was documented. The abuser must be held accountable. We ask that you grant the emergency protective order and ensure that Maya Wellington is never again subjected to the cruelty she has endured. At 3:15, Judge Coleman delivered her ruling. I have reviewed all the evidence presented in this hearing, she said. I have heard testimony from multiple witnesses. I have watched the video, and I have spoken directly with the victim. She removed her glasses and looked at Vanessa. Mrs. Wellington, I find your account of events completely implausible. The video clearly shows intentional assault on a minor child. Your own words captured on that recording demonstrate malice and cruelty that is difficult to comprehend. Vanessa gripped the edge of the table, her knuckles white. Based on the evidence presented, I am granting the emergency protective order. Mrs. Wellington, you are hereby prohibited from having any contact with Maya Wellington. You are prohibited from coming within 500 feet of her person, her school, or the Wellington residence. Your Honor, Monica started. Furthermore, Judge Coleman continued, I am referring this matter to the District Attorney's Office for investigation of criminal charges, including assault on a minor child abuse and witness tampering. Vanessa shot to her feet. You can't do this. I am the victim here. That child is a liar. Mrs. Wellington, sit down. She destroyed my marriage. She turned my husband against me. Bailiff, remove Mrs. Wellington from the courtroom. 2 officers moved forward. Vanessa struggled against them, screaming obscenities, her careful mask completely shattered. You'll regret this, Marcus, she shrieked as they dragged her toward the door. I'll destroy you. I'll take everything you have. You and that crippled little monster will pay for this." The doors swung shut behind her, cutting off her screams. Judge Coleman turned to Marcus. "Mr. Wellington, I am granting you temporary full custody of your daughter pending further proceedings. I strongly recommend that you seek counseling for Maya. She has been through a tremendous ordeal." "Yes, Your Honor. Thank you." "Don't thank me," Judge Coleman's voice softened. "Just take care of that little girl." At 4 o'clock, Marcus carried Maya out of the courthouse through the back entrance. Reporters had gotten wind of the ruling, and they were everywhere. Cameras flashed. Microphones were thrust toward them. Questions were shouted from every direction. Marcus kept his head down and kept walking. Patricia had the car waiting. He put Maya in the back seat and climbed in beside her. As they pulled away, Maya pressed her face against the window, watching the courthouse shrink in the distance. "Is it over, Daddy?" Marcus looked at his daughter. Her eyes were red from crying. Her hands were still shaking, but there was something else there too, something that looked almost like hope. "The first part is over," he said carefully. "There's still more to come. The criminal trial, the divorce proceedings, it won't be easy. But she can't hurt me anymore." "No, baby. She can never hurt you again." Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she climbed out of her seat and into his lap, wrapping her arms around his neck. "I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, Maya, more than anything in this world." At 5:30, they arrived home. The protesters were gone. The reporters had moved on to other stories. The mansion was quiet for the first time in days. Patricia helped Maya inside while Marcus spoke with Michael Grant on the phone. "The DA's office is already assembling a case," Michael said. "With the evidence we presented today, criminal charges are almost certain." "What kind of charges? Assault on a minor? Child abuse? Possibly attempted bribery, depending on what Bernard is willing to testify." Michael paused. "Marcus, I have to be honest with you. Vanessa is not going to take this lying down. Monica Hayes is already filing appeals. They're going to fight this every step of the way." "Let them fight. I'm not backing down." "I know, but you need to be prepared for what's coming. Character attacks, media manipulation. They're going to dig into your past, your business dealings, anything they can use to paint you as the villain. I don't care what they say about me. I only care about protecting Maya." "Then keep her close, keep her safe, and let me handle the legal battle." At 7:15, Marcus made dinner for Maya. It was nothing fancy, grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup, but when he set the plate in front of her, she smiled. Actually smiled. "This was Mommy's favorite," she said. "I know, she used to make it for me when I was stressed. She said the cheese had to be extra melty." "That's right." Marcus sat down across from her. "I probably didn't get it exactly right, but I tried." Maya took a bite. "It's perfect, Daddy." They ate in comfortable silence. When they finished, Marcus cleaned up while Maya watched. "Daddy." "Yes, baby. Can I ask you something?" "Anything." Maya hesitated. "What happened to Mommy?" "On the boat, you never told me the whole story." Marcus set down the dish he was washing. He turned to face his daughter, and for a long moment he did not speak. "Are you sure you want to know?" "I need to know. I need to understand why she's not here." Marcus pulled a chair close to Maya's wheelchair and sat down. He took her hands in his. "Your mother loved you more than anything in this world," he began. "When the accident happened, the boat was sinking fast. There was panic everywhere. People were pushing, shoving, trying to get to the lifeboats." Maya listened, her eyes wide. "There was only one life jacket left. I was trying to get it for you, but my hands were shaking so badly. Your mother was calm. She always was, even in crisis. She took the jacket, put it on you, and fastened every strap perfectly. And then, the boat tilted. I lost my balance. Your mother pushed both of us toward the rescue boat. She got us close enough that the rescuers could grab us." "But what about her?" Marcus's voice broke. "She slipped. The deck was wet. She fell, and before anyone could reach her, the boat went under." Tears were streaming down Maya's face. "Did she say anything at the end?" "Yes." Marcus squeezed her hands. "She looked at me and she said, 'Live for me, both of you. Promise me you'll live.'" "Did you promise?" "I promised, and I've tried to keep that promise every day since, but I haven't done a very good job." "That's not true, Daddy." "Yes, it is. I buried myself in work. I let someone else take care of you. I wasn't there when you needed me most." Marcus wiped his eyes. "Your mother would be so disappointed in me." Maya reached out and touched his face. "No, she wouldn't." "How do you know?" "Because you're here now. You came back. You saved me." Maya's voice was steady. Mommy always said you were the bravest person she knew. She said you would always protect me no matter what. Marcus pulled his daughter into his arms. I'm going to spend the rest of my life making up for the time I lost. I promise you that. You don't have to make up for anything, Daddy. You just have to stay. I'm not going anywhere. Ever again. At 9:45, Marcus tucked Maya into bed. He read her a story, the same one Naomi used to read. He sang her the lullaby she remembered from when she was a baby, and when her eyes finally closed, he sat beside her bed and watched her sleep. She looked peaceful. For the first time in months, maybe years, she looked like a child who was not afraid. His phone buzzed, a text from Patricia. News report just aired. Vanessa arrested on criminal charges, bail set at $1 million. Marcus stared at the message. Part of him felt satisfaction. Justice was being served. The woman who had tortured his daughter was finally being held accountable. But another part of him felt empty. This should never have happened. If he had been paying attention, if he had been present, Maya would never have suffered. Vanessa would never have had the opportunity to hurt her. He had won the battle, but he had lost so much more. At 10:30, his phone rang. It was a number he did not recognize. Mr. Wellington, a woman's voice, professional, clipped. This is Denise Sterling. Marcus's jaw tightened. What do you want? I want to make a deal. I'm not interested in anything you have to say. You will be when you hear what I know. Denise paused. I have information about Vanessa, about things she did that even you don't know about. Why would you betray your own sister? Because my sister is going to prison, and I have no intention of going with her. Denise's voice hardened. Monica Hayes is already distancing herself from the case. Raymond is talking to lawyers about cutting a deal. The ship is sinking, Mr. Wellington, and I'd rather swim than drown. What kind of information? Meet me tomorrow, 11 o'clock. The coffee shop on Peachtree, the one with the green awning. Come alone. And if I don't? Then you'll never know what really happened to your first wife. The line went dead. Marcus sat in the darkness, his heart pounding. What really happened to your first wife? Naomi's death had been an accident. A tragic, terrible accident. That was what everyone said. That was what the investigation concluded. But Denise's words echoed in his mind, refusing to let go. He looked at Maya sleeping peacefully in her bed. He thought about Naomi, about the boat, about the last words she ever said to him. Live for me, both of you. Promise me you'll live. What if it was not an accident? What if there was something more? Marcus did not sleep that night. He sat in the chair beside Maya's bed, watching over her, protecting her the way he should have been protecting her all along. And in the back of his mind, a terrible question began to take shape. A question he was not sure he wanted answered, but a question he knew he could not ignore. Marcus left the mansion at 10:15 the next morning. He had told Patricia he was meeting with Michael Grant to discuss the case. He had not told her about Denise's call. He had not told anyone. The words she had spoken kept circling in his mind like vultures. What really happened to your first wife? The coffee shop was half empty when he arrived at 10:50. He chose a table in the back corner where he could see the entrance. He ordered black coffee and waited. At 11:03, Denise Sterling walked through the door. She looked different from the last time he had seen her. The arrogance was gone from her face. Her designer clothes were wrinkled. Her makeup could not hide the dark circles under her eyes. She spotted him and made her way to the table, sliding into the seat across from him. You came, she said. You said you had information about my wife. Straight to business. Denise smiled, but it did not reach her eyes. I always liked that about you, Marcus. No games. I don't have time for games. Say what you came to say. Denise leaned back in her chair. First, I need assurances. Whatever I tell you, I want immunity. I want the DA to drop any charges against me related to what happened to Maya. I can't promise that. Then we have nothing to discuss. She started to rise. Wait. Marcus's voice was sharp. Sit down. Denise hesitated, then lowered herself back into the chair. Tell me what you know, Marcus said. If it's valuable, I'll talk to Michael Grant. I'll do what I can. I need more than what you can. I need guarantees. You're not in a position to demand guarantees. Marcus leaned forward. Your sister is in jail. Your husband is cutting deals to save himself. Monica Hayes has abandoned you. The only thing keeping you out of prison right now is the fact that no one has decided to charge you yet. Denise's face paled. So here's what's going to happen, Marcus continued. You're going to tell me everything you know, and then I'm going to decide whether it's worth helping you. For a long moment, Denise did not speak. Then she let out a breath. Fine. She reached into her purse and pulled out a small USB drive. Everything is on here. Emails, text messages, recordings, everything Vanessa didn't want anyone to find. Recordings of what? Conversations between Vanessa and a man named Victor Kane. Marcus frowned. Who is Victor Kane? The captain of the boat your wife died on. The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. His coffee cup trembled in his hand. What are you saying? I'm saying the accident that killed Naomi was not an accident. Denise's voice dropped to a whisper. I'm saying my sister planned it. Marcus could not breathe. That's impossible. The investigation concluded it was an accident, equipment failure, bad weather. The investigation was bought. Denise pushed the USB drive across the table. Victor Kane was paid $200,000 to sabotage the boat. He was supposed to make it look like an accident. He was supposed to make sure Naomi didn't survive. Why? The word came out strangled. Why would Vanessa want Naomi dead? She didn't even know us then. Yes, she did. Denise met his eyes. She'd been watching you for over a year, studying your family, waiting for the right moment. She wanted your money, Marcus. She wanted your status, and Naomi was in the way. Marcus felt the room spinning around him. You're lying. I wish I was. Denise's voice cracked. I didn't know the full truth until last year. I found the recordings by accident. Vanessa was careless. She thought she had deleted everything, but I found backups on her old laptop. And you kept this secret for a year. I was scared. Tears welled in Denise's eyes. You don't know what she's capable of. She told me if I ever said anything, she would destroy me. She would make sure I went to prison for things I didn't do. So you let her torture my daughter. You let her abuse Maya for a year, and you said nothing. I'm saying something now. Denise's voice was desperate. I'm trying to make it right. It's too late to make it right. Marcus stood up, grabbing the USB drive. My wife is dead. My daughter is traumatized. Nothing you say can undo that. But you can still get justice. Victor Kane is still alive. He's in hiding, but I know where he is. He can testify against Vanessa. He can prove what she did. Marcus stared at her. Where is he? I'll tell you, but first you have to promise you'll help me. You have to promise I won't go to prison. I already told you, so I can't promise that. Then I can't tell you where he is. Marcus wanted to reach across the table and shake the information out of her, but he forced himself to stay calm. If what you're telling me is true, he said slowly, then Vanessa didn't just abuse my daughter. She murdered my wife, and you helped her cover it up. I didn't know until... You knew enough. You knew she was dangerous. You knew she was capable of terrible things, and you stood by and watched her destroy my family. Denise was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Your apology means nothing to me. Marcus tucked the USB drive into his pocket. But I'll tell you what. You give me Victor Kane's location and I'll talk to the DA. I'll tell them you cooperated. That's the best I can offer. And if that's not enough, then you'll face the consequences of your choices, just like everyone else. Denise stared at him for a long moment. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out a piece of paper. He's in Savannah, renting a house near the river. Here's the address. Marcus took the paper. If this is a trap... It's not a trap. I have nothing left to gain from lying. Denise wiped her eyes. I just want this to be over. Marcus turned and walked out of the coffee shop without looking back. At 12:30, he was in Michael Grant's office. You're telling me Naomi's death was murder. That's what Denise claims. Marcus handed over the USB drive. She says everything is on here. Michael plugged the drive into his computer. For several minutes, he scrolled through files in silence. His face grew grimmer with each document he opened. My God, he finally said. Is it real? If these emails are authentic, then yes. Vanessa paid someone to sabotage the boat. She planned the whole thing. Michael looked at Marcus. This changes everything. How do we prove it? We need Victor Kane. His testimony would be the final nail in her coffin. I have his address. Denise gave it to me. Then we need to move fast. If Vanessa finds out we have this information, she'll try to silence him. She's in jail. She still has resources, still has connections. Michael reached for his phone. I'm calling the DA right now. We need to get Kane into protective custody before anyone else gets to him. At 2:15, Marcus received a call from Patricia. Sir, something's wrong. Maya won't come out of her room. What do you mean, but... She locked herself in about an hour ago. She won't answer when I knock. She won't respond to anything I say. Marcus was already running to his car. I'm on my way. He broke every speed limit getting home. He burst through the front door and took the stairs, 2 at a time. When he reached Maya's room, he could hear her crying through the closed door. "Maya, baby, it's Daddy! Open the door!" No response, just sobbing. "Maya, please! You're scaring me. Let me in." "Go away." Her voice was muffled, broken. "Just go away." "I'm not going anywhere. Tell me what's wrong." Silence. Then I saw it. Saw what? The news, on Patricia's tablet. They showed pictures of Mama, of the boat. Maya's sobs grew louder. "They said it wasn't an accident. They said someone killed her." Marcus felt his heart shatter. The story had leaked. Someone had talked to the press before they could control the narrative. And now Maya knew. She knew before he had a chance to tell her himself. "Maya, I need you to open this door, please." "Is it true? Did that woman kill my mommy?" Marcus pressed his forehead against the door. "Baby, please, let me in so we can talk." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then he heard the click of the lock. He opened the door slowly. Maya was on her bed, her face red and swollen from crying, Patricia's tablet clutched in her small hands. On the screen was a news article with the headline, "Wellington Murder Plot, New Evidence Suggests Wife's Death Was No Accident." Marcus crossed the room and sat on the bed beside her. He gently took the tablet and set it aside. "I was going to tell you," he said. "I was trying to figure out how." "Is it true?" Maya's voice was barely a whisper. Marcus took her hands in his. "I don't know yet. We're still investigating, but it might be." "She killed Mommy." "She might have. We're trying to find out for sure." Maya stared at him, and her eyes filled with a pain no child should ever have to feel. "I lived with her. I lived with the person who killed my mommy, and I called her Mama." "You didn't know. Neither of us knew." "But I should have known. I should have felt it." Maya pulled her hands away and hugged herself. "Mommy died to save me, and I let her killer live in our house." "That is not your fault." Marcus's voice was firm. "None of this is your fault. You were a child. You trusted the adults around you to protect you, and we failed. I failed." "Why did she hate us so much?" "I don't know, baby. Some people are just broken inside. They want things they don't deserve, and they'll hurt anyone to get them." "Will she go to prison forever?" "If we can prove what she did, yes. She'll never hurt anyone again." Maya was quiet for a long time. Then she looked at her father with eyes that seemed far too old for her 6 years. "I want to help." "What?" "I want to help catch her. I want to make sure she pays for what she did to Mommy, and to me." "Maya, you've already been through so much." "I know." Her small jaw set with determination. "But I'm not scared anymore. I'm angry." Marcus looked at his daughter and saw something he had never seen before. Not fear, not sadness, strength. "Okay," he said slowly, "but you have to promise me something." "What?" "Promise me you'll tell me if it gets too hard. Promise me you'll let me protect you." Maya nodded. "I promise." She climbed into his lap and wrapped her arms around his neck. He held her tight, feeling her small heart beating against his chest. "We're going to get through this," he whispered. Together. At 5:45, Michael Grant called with news. "We found Victor Kane." "Is he in custody?" "Yes and no, Huck." Michael's voice was tense. "He's in the hospital. Someone got to him before we did." Marcus's blood ran cold. "What happened?" "He was attacked outside his house this morning, beaten badly. He's in critical condition." "Is he going to survive?" "The doctors don't know yet, but Marcus, here's the thing. Before he lost consciousness, he told the paramedics he wanted to talk. He said he had information about a murder. He said he wanted to make a deal." "Can we get to him?" "I'm working on it. The hospital has him in ICU, and the police are treating it as attempted murder. They're restricting access." "Who attacked him?" "We don't know yet, but I think we can guess." "Vanessa, even from jail, she was reaching out. Even with everything falling apart around her, she was trying to silence anyone who could testify against her." "Michael, we have to get to him before she finishes the job." "I know, I'm doing everything I can, but Marcus, there's something else." "What?" "The attack on Kane, it wasn't random. Someone hired professionals, someone with money and connections." "Vanessa's in jail. She can't..." "She has allies, people who owe her favors, people who don't want her talking either." Michael paused. "This goes deeper than we thought. Vanessa didn't act alone. She couldn't have. She needed help planning the boat, sabotage, help covering it up, help buying off the investigators." "Who?" "That's what we need to find out, and Kane is the only person who can tell us." At 7 o'clock, Marcus made a decision. I'm going to Savannah. Patricia looked up from where she was preparing dinner. Sir, that's not a good idea. If someone attacked Kane, then I need to get to him before they finish what they started. He's the only one who can prove what Vanessa did. What about Maya? She's safe here with you. I'll be back by morning. At least take someone with you. Security. Someone. No, the fewer people who know where I'm going, the better. He went upstairs to say goodbye to Maya. She was in bed, her dinner barely touched, staring at the ceiling. Daddy has to go somewhere tonight. Maya turned to look at him. Where? I have to talk to someone who can help us prove what happened to Mommy. Is it dangerous? Marcus hesitated. He did not want to lie to her. It might be. Then don't go. I have to, baby. This might be our only chance. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Promise me you'll come back. I promise. He kissed her forehead. I will always come back to you. He drove through the night, pushing his car as fast as it would go. His mind raced even faster. If Vanessa had killed Naomi, then everything he thought he knew about the past 2 years was a lie. She had not been a grieving widower who moved on too quickly. She had been a target, a mark, someone to be manipulated and used. And he had let it happen. He had married the woman who murdered his wife. He had left his daughter in her care. The guilt was crushing. At 11:15, he arrived at the Savannah hospital. The ICU was quiet at this hour, the hallways dimly lit. Marcus approached the nurse's station and introduced himself. I'm here to see Victor Kane. I'm told he's in critical condition. The nurse checked her records. Are you family? No, but I have information relevant to his case. I need to speak with him. I'm sorry, sir. Only family and law enforcement are allowed access. Please, this is urgent. He has information about a murder case if I don't speak with him. Sir, I understand, but hospital policy. Let him through. A voice from behind them. Marcus turned to see a detective in a rumpled suit walking toward them. Detective James Morrison. He flashed his badge. I've been expecting you, Mr. Wellington. How did you know I was coming? Your lawyer called ahead. He said you might show up. Morrison looked at the nurse. It's okay. I'll take responsibility. The nurse hesitated, then nodded. Room 412. But keep it brief. He's very weak. Marcus followed Morrison down the hallway. Is he going to make it? Too early to tell. He lost a lot of blood. Whoever attacked him meant to kill him. Has he said anything? He's been in and out of consciousness, but the last time he was awake, he asked for a lawyer, said he wanted to make a statement before it was too late. They reached room 412. Through the window, Marcus could see a man lying in the bed, connected to machines, his face swollen and bruised beyond recognition. That's him. What's left of him? Morrison pushed open the door. Kane, you have a visitor. The man's eyes fluttered open. For a moment, they were unfocused, confused. Then they landed on Marcus, and something flickered across his battered face. Recognition and fear. Wellington, he rasped. You know who I am? I know. Kane coughed, wincing in pain. She said you'd never find out. She promised me I was safe. She lied. She lies about everything. Marcus moved closer to the bed. I need to know what happened. On the boat. I need to know how my wife really died. Kane closed his eyes. For a long moment, Marcus thought he had lost consciousness again. Then he spoke. She paid me $200 grand. Said all I had to do was loosen some bolts, disable the emergency systems. Make it look like mechanical failure. And my wife? The original plan was to get both of you. The kid, too. Kane's voice was barely audible. But your wife figured out something was wrong. She started checking the equipment. She found the sabotage before we got far from shore. She knew the boat was going down. She couldn't stop it, but she had time to get the life jackets ready, to get you and the girl to the rescue boat. Tears streamed down Marcus's face. She saved us. She tried to save everyone, but the boat went down too fast. Kane opened his eyes, and they were filled with something that might have been regret. She shouldn't have died. If she hadn't been so determined to check every system, she might have made it to the lifeboats with everyone else. But she did check, because she knew something was wrong. Yeah. Kane coughed again, blood speckling his lips. She was smart, your wife. Too smart for her own good. Marcus gripped the bedrail, trying to control his rage. Who else was involved? Who helped Vanessa plan this? I don't know names. She had someone on the inside, someone who knew your schedule, knew when you'd be on that boat. Inside were my company, my house. I don't know, Kane's voice was fading. All I know is she didn't work alone. She had help, money help, planning help. Kane, stay with me. Who helped her? But Kane's eyes had closed. His breathing grew shallow. He's crashing, Morrison shouted. Nurses rushed into the room, pushing Marcus aside. He watched helplessly as they worked on Kane, their movements urgent and desperate. At 11:47, Victor Kane flatlined. They tried to resuscitate him for 20 minutes, but it was no use. He was gone. Marcus stood in the hallway, his back against the wall, his hands shaking. Kane was dead. The one person who could have testified about Naomi's murder was gone. Morrison approached him. I'm sorry. We did everything we could. It wasn't enough. No, it wasn't. Morrison handed him a plastic evidence bag. Inside was a small notebook, stained with blood. We found this in his pocket. He must have been carrying it when he was attacked. Marcus took the bag. What is it? Some kind of record. Names, dates, amounts. We think it's documentation of the payments he received. Can I look at it? Technically, it's evidence, but given the circumstances... Morrison shrugged. I'll need it back. Marcus opened the bag and pulled out the notebook. He flipped through the pages, his eyes scanning the cramped handwriting. And then he saw it. A name he recognized. A name that made his blood freeze. Patricia Howard, his assistant. The woman who had worked for his family for 20 years. The woman who was at home right now taking care of his daughter. Her name was in Victor Kane's notebook. With a payment amount of $50,000. Marcus's phone was in his hand before he even realized he was dialing. Pick up, he muttered. Skeet. Pick up, pick up, pick up. No answer. He tried Patricia's number, straight to voicemail. He tried the house phone. It rang and rang. His heart was pounding now. Terror clawing at his chest. Morrison, I need your help. What's wrong? My daughter is in danger. At 12:15, Marcus was speeding back toward Atlanta with a police escort behind him. His mind was racing. Patricia, the woman he had trusted with everything, the woman who had sent him the video, the woman who had seemed so loyal, so devoted. She had been working with Vanessa all along. She had helped plan Naomi's murder. She had watched while his wife died, and his daughter was abused. And now she was alone with Maya. He tried calling again. Still no answer. He tried Michael Grant. The lawyer picked up on the first ring. Marcus, it's after midnight. What's... Patricia is involved? She's in Kane's notebook. She was paid $50,000. My God. She's at my house with Maya. I can't reach them. I'll call the police. Get them there immediately. I'm already on my way. Morrison is with me. Marcus, be careful. If Patricia knows we're onto her, I don't care. My daughter is in that house. He ended the call and pressed the accelerator harder. At 1:45 in the morning, Marcus's car screeched to a stop in front of the mansion. The house was dark. Too dark. Morrison and 2 patrol cars pulled up behind him. Officers jumped out, weapons drawn. Let me go first, Morrison said. That's my daughter in there. And charging in blind won't help her. Let us clear the house. Marcus wanted to argue, but he knew Morrison was right. He forced himself to wait as the officers approached the front door. It was unlocked. They moved inside, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Marcus followed his heart in his throat. The living room was empty. The kitchen was empty. The whole ground floor was silent and still. Then they heard it. A child crying. Upstairs. Marcus pushed past the officers and ran up the stairs, ignoring their shouts, to wait. He followed the sound to Maya's room and threw open the door. Maya was huddled in the corner of her room, her wheelchair knocked over, tears streaming down her face. But she was alive. She was alive. Maya. Daddy. She reached for him, and he gathered her in his arms, holding her tight. Are you hurt? Did she hurt you? No. Maya was sobbing. She just left. She said she was sorry, and she left. Where did she go? I don't know. She packed a bag and drove away. She was crying. Marcus looked around the room. Maya's tablet was on the floor, still showing the news article about the murder plot. Patricia must have seen it, must have realized her name would come out eventually. She had run. But at least she had not hurt Maya. Whatever else Patricia had done, she had not harmed the child in her care. Morrison. The detective appeared in the doorway. Patricia Howard is gone. She fled about an hour ago. I need you to put out an APB. On it. Italians. Morrison pulled out his radio and started issuing orders. Marcus turned back to Maya. I'm so sorry, baby. I should never have left you. It's okay, Daddy. Maya wiped her eyes. You came back, just like you promised. He held her close, feeling her heartbeat against his chest. She was safe. That was all that mattered. But Patricia was still out there. Vanessa was still in jail, still dangerous. And somewhere there were other people involved in Naomi's murder who had not yet been named. The fight was not over. But for now, in this moment, his daughter was safe in his arms. And that was enough. At 3:30 in the morning, Marcus sat in Maya's room, watching her sleep. She had cried herself to exhaustion and refusing to let go of his hand until she finally drifted off. Even in sleep, her grip was tight as if she was afraid he would disappear. His phone buzzed, a text from Michael Grant. DA's office is issuing arrest warrants for Patricia Howard and 2 others named in Kane's notebook. Press conference scheduled for 9 a.m. This is going to be big. Marcus read the message but did not respond. He was too tired to think about press conferences and arrest warrants. He was too focused on the small hand holding his on the child who had survived so much. He thought about Naomi, about her smile, her laugh, the way she had looked at him on their wedding day. He thought about the last time he saw her on that boat, pushing him toward the rescue raft. Live for me, both of you. I'm trying, he whispered into the darkness. I'm trying so hard. Maya stirred in her sleep, murmuring something he could not hear. He leaned closer. Mommy, she whispered. Mommy, I miss you. Marcus felt tears running down his face. He did not try to stop them. She misses you too, baby, he said softly. And she's so proud of you. So proud of how brave you are. Mommy. Maya's eyes fluttered open. For a moment she looked confused. Then she saw her father and a small smile crossed her face. You're still here. I'm still here. Will you stay? Forever, baby. Forever. She closed her eyes again, her grip on his hand relaxing slightly. Marcus stayed in the chair beside her bed, watching over her until the first rays of dawn crept through the window. The night was over, but the hardest battles were still to come. 3 weeks later, Patricia Howard was found in a motel room outside of Memphis. She had taken enough sleeping pills to kill herself twice over, but the maid had discovered her before it was too late. The paramedics revived her, the police arrested her, and now she was in a hospital bed in Atlanta, handcuffed to the rails waiting to face charges for conspiracy to commit murder. Marcus received the news at 6:15 in the morning. She's awake, Michael Grant said over the phone. And she's talking. She wants to make a deal. What kind of deal? Full confession in exchange for a reduced sentence. She says she has information about everyone involved. Names, dates, bank accounts, everything. Can we trust her? We don't have to trust her. We just have to listen. Michael paused. Marcus, if what she says is true, this goes far beyond Vanessa. There are people in your company, in the Atlanta social scene, who helped make this happen. Patricia knows who they are. I want to be there when she talks. I figured you would. The DA is taking her statement at 10. I can get you into the room. At 9:45, Marcus walked into the interview room at Grady Memorial Hospital. Patricia was propped up in bed, her wrists bound with padded restraints, her face pale and drawn. She looked like she had aged 20 years in 3 weeks. When she saw Marcus, tears immediately began streaming down her face. Marcus, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He did not respond. He pulled a chair to the side of the bed and sat down, his eyes cold. I don't want your apologies. I want the truth. I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you anything you want to know. Then start at the beginning. How did you get involved with Vanessa? Patricia closed her eyes. She approached me 2 years before Naomi died. She knew I had money problems. My mother was sick, needed expensive treatments. I was drowning in debt. So she paid you. She said all I had to do was give her information. Your schedule, Naomi's schedule, when you traveled, where you went. She said she wanted to invest in your company and needed to understand how you operated. And you believed her. I wanted to believe her. The money was good, and I told myself I wasn't doing anything wrong, just sharing information. Patricia's voice cracked. I didn't know what she was planning, not at first. When did you find out? A month before the boat trip. She told me she needed to know the exact route, the exact time you'd be on the water. She said she was planning a surprise for Naomi. Patricia was sobbing now. I should have known. I should have questioned it. But I was in too deep. I owed her too much money. So you helped her kill my wife. I didn't know she was going to die. I swear I didn't know. Not until it happened. Not until I saw the news and realized what I'd been part of. And then you stayed silent. For 2 years you stayed in my house, took care of my daughter, and said nothing. I was terrified. Vanessa told me if I ever talked, she would make sure I went to prison. She said she had evidence that would make me look like the mastermind. Patricia looked at Marcus with desperate, pleading eyes. I was trapped. I couldn't see a way out. There's always a way out. You chose not to take it. I know that now, and I'll spend the rest of my life paying for it. Marcus leaned forward. Who else was involved? Kane said Vanessa had help, money help, planning help. Patricia nodded. There were others. Bernard Chen, your CFO. He helped move the money to pay Kane. Eleanor Vance from your board of directors. She provided the alibi for Vanessa on the day of the accident. Bernard and Eleanor. Marcus felt sick. These were people he had trusted, people he had worked with for years. Vanessa had leverage on both of them. Bernard was embezzling from the company. Eleanor had an affair she wanted to keep quiet. Vanessa found out and used it against them. Is there anyone else? One more. Patricia hesitated. Raymond Carter? Denise's husband. Raymond was involved in the murder? He was the one who found Kane. He had connections from his gambling days. When Vanessa needed someone to sabotage the boat, Raymond delivered. Marcus sat back in his chair, his mind reeling. 4 people. 4 people who had helped murder his wife and had walked free for 2 years. Will you testify to all of this in court? Yes. Patricia's voice was barely a whisper. I'll testify to everything. I owe Naomi that much. I owe Maya that much. You don't owe them anything. You can never repay what you took from them. Marcus stood up. But you can help make sure the people responsible face justice. That's the only thing you can do now. He walked out of the room without looking back. The arrests began at noon. Bernard Chen was taken from his office in handcuffs, protesting loudly about his rights. Eleanor Vance was arrested at a charity luncheon, her face frozen in shock as officers read her the charges. Raymond Carter tried to run but was tackled in his driveway before he could reach his car. By 3 o'clock, all 4 conspirators were in custody. And by 5 o'clock, Vanessa Sterling Wellington had been charged with first-degree murder. The news exploded across every channel. The wealthy socialite who had already been facing child abuse charges was now accused of orchestrating her husband's first wife's death. The story had everything the media craved: a money, murder, betrayal, and a sympathetic victim in the form of a 6-year-old girl in a wheelchair. Marcus watched the coverage from his living room, Maya asleep beside him on the couch. They're calling it the crime of the decade, Michael said from the phone. Every news network in the country wants an interview. No interviews. Marcus, this could help the case. Public support. I said no. I'm not putting Maya through that. She's been through enough. Understood. Michael paused. The trial is set for 3 weeks from now. The DA is confident, but it won't be easy. Vanessa's new lawyer is already claiming the evidence was obtained illegally. What about Patricia's testimony? It's solid, but the defense will try to discredit her. They'll say she's lying to save herself. She is lying to save herself, but she's also telling the truth. We know that. We just have to convince the jury. The trial began on a Monday morning in late October. The Fulton County Courthouse was surrounded by news vans and spectators. People had lined up since dawn to get seats in the gallery. Security was tighter than anyone could remember. Marcus arrived with Maya at 8:30, entering through a private entrance to avoid the crowds. Maya was wearing a blue dress that Naomi had bought for her 3rd birthday. She had insisted on wearing it today. I want Mommy to be with me, she had said. This is as close as I can get. Judge Dorothy Coleman was presiding again. She had requested the case specifically stating that she wanted to see it through to the end. Vanessa entered the courtroom in an orange jumpsuit, her wrists and ankles shackled. She looked nothing like the glamorous woman who had poured soup on Maya's head. Her hair was limp and unwashed. Her face was gaunt. Her eyes were empty. She did not look at Marcus. She did not look at Maya. She stared straight ahead as if the world had already ceased to exist. All rise, the bailiff called. The trial had begun. The prosecution's case was devastating. Over the course of 5 days, they presented evidence that traced Vanessa's plot from its earliest stages. Bank records showed payments to Victor Kane routed through offshore accounts that Bernard Chen had helped establish. Phone records showed calls between Vanessa and Kane in the weeks before the boat trip. Email exchanges detailed the sabotage plan in chilling specificity. Patricia took the stand on the 3rd day. She described how Vanessa had recruited her, how she had provided information about the family's schedules, how she had watched in horror as the news of Naomi's death broke. She wept through most of her testimony, but her words were clear and damning. Did you understand at any point that Mrs. Wellington intended to harm Naomi Wellington? The prosecutor asked. Not explicitly, but I should have known. The question she asked, the information she wanted, it all pointed to something sinister. I was willfully blind. Why didn't you come forward after the accident? Because I was afraid? Because I was complicit? Because I knew that if I talked, I would go to prison too. What changed? Patricia looked at Maya sitting beside her father in the gallery. That little girl, she trusted me. She called me Aunt Patricia, and I let her live with the woman who murdered her mother. Tears streamed down her face. I couldn't live with that anymore. I'd rather spend the rest of my life in prison than carry that secret one more day. Bernard Chen testified next, then Eleanor Vance, then Raymond Carter. Each of them tried to minimize their involvement, tried to shift blame to Vanessa, but the evidence was too overwhelming. One by one, they confirmed the conspiracy, filling in details that painted a complete picture of premeditated murder. On the 6th day, the prosecution rested. The defense's case lasted only 2 days. Vanessa's lawyer, a high-profile attorney from New York named Harrison Webb, tried everything. He challenged the authenticity of the bank records. He questioned the credibility of the witnesses. He suggested that Marcus himself had been involved in his wife's death and was framing Vanessa to cover his tracks. The accusation sent a murmur through the courtroom. Marcus tensed, but Michael Grant placed a calming hand on his arm. Don't react. That's what they want. He's saying I killed my own wife. And no one believes him. Look at the jury. Marcus looked. The jurors' faces ranged from skeptical to disgusted. Webb's accusation had backfired. On the 8th day, Vanessa took the stand in her own defense. It was a gamble and everyone knew it, but Vanessa had insisted. She believed she could convince the jury just as she had convinced so many people throughout her life. She was wrong. Under direct examination, she presented herself as a loving wife who had been unfairly targeted by a grieving widower seeking someone to blame. She denied any involvement in Naomi's death. She claimed the payments to Kane were for legitimate consulting services. She said Patricia and the others were lying to save themselves. Then the prosecutor began his cross-examination. Mrs. Wellington, you claim you had no knowledge of Victor Kane's plan to sabotage the boat. Is that correct? That's correct. Then can you explain this email sent from your personal account to Mr. Kane 3 weeks before the accident? The prosecutor held up a document, and I quote, make sure it looks like mechanical failure. No survivors from the target family. Vanessa's face went pale. That email was fabricated. Someone hacked my account. Your account, that was protected by two-factor authentication. Your account that showed login records from your home IP address. I don't know how that's possible. Mrs. Wellington, were you aware that Victor Kane recorded many of his phone conversations? Vanessa froze. We have recovered a recording from Mr. Kane's cloud storage. A conversation between you and him dated 1 week before the accident. Would you like to hear it? Objection! Harrison Webb shouted. This evidence was not disclosed during discovery. Your Honor, this recording was recovered from Mr. Kane's digital files after his death. We received it from federal investigators yesterday and moved immediately to authenticate it. Judge Coleman considered for a moment. I'll allow it. Play the recording. The courtroom fell silent as the audio filled the room. Vanessa's voice clear and unmistakable. I don't care how you do it, just make sure she doesn't survive. The girl and the husband are optional, but Naomi has to die. Kane's voice, and if they all die, Vanessa's voice, then I'll be a grieving widow who supports a grieving widower. People love that story. Kane's voice, what about the kid? Vanessa's voice, what about her? She's in a wheelchair. She's not going anywhere. If she survives, I'll deal with her later. The recording ended. The courtroom erupted. Reporters were typing frantically. Spectators were gasping and whispering. The jurors looked horrified. Vanessa sat frozen on the witness stand, her face a mask of shock. No further questions, Poursuivant, the prosecutor said. Harrison Webb tried to recover. He objected to the recording's admissibility. He demanded a mistrial. He accused the prosecution of prosecutorial misconduct. Judge Coleman denied every motion. The witness may step down, she said. Vanessa walked back to the defense table on shaking legs. For the first time, she looked at Marcus. Her eyes were filled not with hatred or defiance, but with something that looked almost like resignation. She knew it was over. On the 10th day of the trial, Maya Wellington took the stand. Marcus had agonized over this decision for weeks. He did not want his daughter to relive her trauma in front of a courtroom full of strangers, but Maya had insisted. I want to tell them what she did to me, she had said. I want them to know the truth. The prosecutor approached her gently. Maya, do you understand why you're here today? Yes, sir. I'm here to tell the truth about my stepmother. Can you tell the court what your life was like after your stepmother moved into your home? Maya took a deep breath. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. At first, she was nice. She bought me presents and took me places, but after a few months, things changed. She started saying mean things, calling me names. What kind of names? She called me a cripple, a burden, a curse. Maya's voice wavered. She said everyone wished I had died instead of my mommy. Did she ever physically hurt you? Yes, sir. She hit me, she pushed my wheelchair, she locked me in my room and took my wheelchair away so I couldn't get out of bed. Did you ever tell anyone about this? No, sir. She said if I told anyone, she would make me have an accident. She said she would push me down the stairs and make it look like I fell. Were you afraid of her? Tears were streaming down Maya's face now, but she kept talking. Every day. I was afraid every single day. I would pray that Daddy would come home early so I wouldn't have to be alone with her. Maya, on the night of your stepmother's birthday party, what happened? Maya looked directly at Vanessa for the first time. She poured hot soup on my head, in front of everyone, and she said, "That's what happens to little curses who embarrass me in front of my guests." The courtroom was completely silent. How did that make you feel? Like I was nothing? Maya's voice broke. Like I deserved to be hurt. Like nobody would ever love me. Marcus was crying openly now. Jerome was crying. Angela Brooks was crying. Even Judge Coleman was blinking back tears. Maya, one more question. If you could say anything to your stepmother right now, what would you say? Maya looked at Vanessa again. For a long moment she was silent. Then she spoke. I would say that she's wrong. I'm not a curse. I'm not a burden. My mommy loved me. My daddy loves me. And nothing she did could ever take that away. Maya's chin lifted. She tried to break me, but I'm still here, and she's the one who's going to prison. The courtroom erupted in applause. Judge Coleman banged her gavel for order, but even she seemed moved. Harrison Webb had no questions for the witness. Maya stepped down from the stand and wheeled herself back to her father. Marcus gathered her into his arm, holding her tight. I'm so proud of you, he whispered. Your mother would be so proud. I know, Maya said. I felt her with me, the whole time. Closing arguments were delivered the next morning. The prosecutor summarized the evidence, methodically connecting each piece to create an undeniable picture of premeditated murder. He showed the jury the emails played. The recordings recounted the testimony of each witness. He ended by showing a photograph of Naomi smiling and alive, taken just days before her death. This woman was murdered, Chisholm, he said. Murdered by someone who wanted her money, her status, her life. Vanessa Sterling Wellington planned this crime for years. She recruited accomplices. She paid for sabotage. She watched while Naomi Wellington drowned, and then she moved into her home, married her husband, and abused her child. He looked at the jury. This is not a complicated case. The evidence is overwhelming. The witnesses are credible. The defendant's own words condemn her. We ask you to deliver the only verdict that justice allows, guilty on all counts. Harrison Webb's closing argument was desperate. He attacked the witnesses. He questioned the evidence. He repeated his claim that Marcus was the real murderer, using his wealth and influence to frame an innocent woman. No one believed him. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. At 3:47 in the afternoon, the foreman stood to deliver the verdict. On the charge of first-degree murder, we the jury find the defendant Vanessa Sterling Wellington guilty. Marcus closed his eye. Maya gripped his hand. On the charge of conspiracy to commit murder, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of child abuse, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of assault on a minor, we find the defendant guilty. Vanessa showed no reaction. She sat motionless as each verdict was read, her face blank, her eyes empty. Judge Coleman set sentencing for 3 weeks later. Mrs. Wellington, she said, looking at the defendant with undisguised contempt. You have been found guilty of some of the most heinous crimes this court has ever seen. You murdered an innocent woman. You abused her child. You manipulated and deceived everyone around you for years. When this court delivers your sentence, I will ensure that you never have the opportunity to harm anyone again. She banged her gavel. Court is adjourned. The sentencing hearing took place on a cold November morning. Vanessa stood before Judge Coleman in her orange jumpsuit, her wrists shackled. The arrogance was completely gone from her face. She looked broken, defeated, empty. Vanessa Sterling Wellington, Judge Coleman began, You have been convicted of first-degree murder conspiracy to commit murder, child abuse, and assault on a minor. Before I deliver your sentence, do you have anything to say?" Vanessa was silent for a long moment. Then she spoke. "I should have been her." Her voice was flat, lifeless. "I should have been the one Marcus married. I should have been the one living in that house, raising that child, spending that money. Naomi had everything I deserved. She took what should have been mine." "She took nothing from you," Judge Coleman said. "She earned her life through love and kindness and hard work. You tried to steal hers through murder and manipulation, and now you will face the consequences." Judge Coleman opened the folder before her. "Vanessa Sterling Wellington, I hereby sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder of Naomi Davis Wellington. I further sentence you to 20 years for conspiracy to commit murder, 10 years for child abuse, and 5 years for assault on a minor. These sentences are to be served consecutively." Vanessa did not react. "You will spend the rest of your natural life behind bars. You will never again harm an innocent person. And when you die alone and forgotten in a prison cell, I hope you remember the faces of the people whose lives you destroyed." Judge Coleman looked at Marcus and Maya. "Mr. Wellington, Maya, this court cannot undo the damage that has been done to your family, but I hope this verdict brings you some measure of peace. Naomi Wellington deserved better than the fate she received, but she lives on in her daughter and in the love that binds your family together." She banged her gavel one final time. "This case is closed." The conspirators received their sentences the following week. Patricia Howard was sentenced to 15 years for her role in the conspiracy with the possibility of parole after 10. She accepted the verdict without complaint. Bernard Chen received 12 years. Eleanor Vance received 8. Raymond Carter, who had found Victor Kane and facilitated the sabotage, received 25 years. Denise Sterling pleaded guilty to accessory after the fact and received 5 years. Justice had been served. 2 months later, Maya started therapy. Her therapist, Dr. Sarah Mitchell, specialized in childhood trauma. She met with Maya twice a week, helping her process the abuse, the loss, the fear that had defined so much of her young life. "How are you feeling today?" Dr. Mitchell asked during one session. Maya considered the question. "Different." "Different how? That's like the weight is gone, like I can breathe again." Maya looked at her hands. "For so long I was scared all the time. Scared of Vanessa, scared of being alone, scared that nobody would believe me if I told the truth. And now? Now I know people believe me. They believed me in court. They believed me when I said what she did." Maya's voice grew stronger. "I'm not scared anymore. I'm just sad." "Sad about what?" "About my mommy, about all the time I lost with her. About all the time I spent being afraid when I should have been happy." "That's a normal feeling, Maya. Grief takes many forms, but I want you to remember something." "What?" "Your mother loved you enough to give her life for you. That love doesn't go away just because she's gone. It lives inside you in every breath you take and every day you live fully and bravely." Maya nodded slowly. "That's what my daddy says too." "He's right. You have a lot of people who love you, Maya. Your father, your Uncle Jerome, your teacher, all the people who stood up for you during the trial." "I know." For the first time in months, Maya smiled. "I'm pretty lucky." "Yes, you are. And you're also very brave. Never forget that." Spring came slowly to Atlanta that year. Marcus had reduced his work schedule dramatically. He had promoted new executives to handle the day-to-day operations of his company so he could focus on what mattered most, his daughter. They developed routines. Breakfast together every morning, walks in the park every afternoon, Marcus pushing Maya's wheelchair while she pointed out birds and flowers. Dinner together every evening, sometimes just the two of them, sometimes with Jerome or Angela or Samuel. One evening in April, Maya asked her father to take her somewhere special. "Where do you want to go, baby?" "To the cemetery, to see Mommy." Marcus hesitated. They had not visited Naomi's grave since the trial ended. He was not sure Maya was ready, but Maya's eyes were clear and determined. "I need to tell her something. I need her to know we're okay." They drove to the cemetery as the sun was setting. Marcus lifted Maya from her wheelchair and carried her to Naomi's headstone. He set her down gently in the grass and knelt beside her. The inscription on the stone read, "Naomi Davis Wellington, beloved wife and mother. She lived with grace, loved with her whole heart, and gave everything for those she cherished." Maya reached out and touched the stone. "Hi, Mommy," she whispered. "It's me. Maya?" She was quiet for a moment as if listening for a response. I wanted you to know that we caught the people who hurt you. They're in prison now. They can't hurt anyone else." A gentle breeze stirred the flowers on the grave. "Daddy is taking really good care of me. He makes me breakfast every morning. He reads to me every night. He doesn't travel anymore. He stays home with me." Marcus felt tears streaming down his face. "I miss you so much, Mommy. Every day I wish you were here. I wish you could see how big I've gotten. I wish you could hear about school and my drawings and my new friends." Maya paused. "But I know you're watching. I know you're proud of me, and I promise I'm going to keep being brave just like you wanted. I'm going to live for you, Mommy, every day, just like you asked." She leaned forward and kissed the headstone. "I love you." Marcus wrapped his arm around his daughter, and together they sat in silence as the sun sank below the horizon. 1 year later, Maya Wellington celebrated her 8th birthday. The party was held in the backyard of the Wellington mansion. Jerome was there. Angela was there. Samuel Johnson was there. Dr. Mitchell was there. Rosa Martinez was there. Even Detective Morrison came bringing a teddy bear as a gift. Marcus watched his daughter laughing and playing, surrounded by people who loved her. She was not the same girl she had been 2 years ago. The fear was gone from her eyes. The sadness had faded. She smiled easily, now laughed often, and faced each day with a courage that amazed everyone who knew her. After the cake was cut and the presents were opened, Maya asked her father to push her wheelchair to the small memorial garden they had planted in Naomi's honor. "I want to show Mommy my presents," she said. Marcus pushed her along the garden path until they reached the stone bench beneath the jasmine tree. A small plaque was mounted on the bench for Naomi, the light of our lives. Maya arranged her presents on the bench, showing each one to the empty space beside her as if her mother were sitting there. "Look, Mommy, Daddy got me new paints, and Uncle Jerome got me a dress, and Miss Angela got me a special sketchbook for my drawings." She chattered happily for several minutes, describing each gift in detail. Then she fell silent. "Daddy?" "Yes, baby. Do you think Mommy is happy wherever she is?" Marcus knelt down beside the wheelchair. "I think she's the happiest she's ever been, because she can see that you're okay, that you're thriving, that you're becoming the amazing person she always knew you would be." "Do you still miss her?" "Every day, but missing her doesn't hurt as much as it used to." Marcus took Maya's hand. "Because I have you, and you're so much like her. When I look at you, I see her smile, her courage, her kindness. She's still with us, Maya, in you." Maya squeezed his hand. "I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, baby, more than anything in this world." They sat together in the garden as the sun set, father and daughter surrounded by the scent of jasmine and the sound of friends laughing in the distance. 5 years passed. Maya Wellington was 13 years old. She had grown into a remarkable young woman. Her grades were excellent. Her art had won regional competitions. She had friends who loved her and teachers who believed in her. The wheelchair was still part of her life, but it no longer defined her. She had learned to see it not as a limitation, but as a different way of moving through the world. She had become an advocate for children with disabilities, speaking at schools and community events about her experiences. One evening, Marcus found her in her room looking at old photographs. "What are you looking at?" "Pictures of Mommy." Maya held up a photo of Naomi holding her as a baby. "I was thinking about everything that happened, about how different my life could have been." "Different how?" "If Vanessa had succeeded, if she had killed all of us on that boat." Maya looked at her father. "We almost didn't make it, Daddy. We almost weren't here. But we are here, because your mother made sure of it." "I know." Maya set down the photograph. "I've been thinking a lot lately about what I want to do with my life. And I want to help kids like me. Kids who are scared. Kids who are being hurt and don't know how to tell anyone." Maya's voice was firm. "I want to make sure no child ever feels as alone as I did." Marcus felt his heart swell with pride. "Your mother would love that." "I hope so." Maya smiled. "I'm doing it for her too. Everything good I do, I'm doing for her." Marcus hugged his daughter, feeling the strength in her small frame, the determination in her spirit. She was no longer the broken child who had been pulled from a nightmare. She was a survivor, a warrior, a beacon of hope for others who faced the same darkness she had overcome. On Maya's 18th birthday, she received a letter. It was from Patricia Howard, still in prison, still serving her sentence. Maya had not heard from her in years. "Dear Maya," the letter read, "I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness. But I wanted you to know that not a day goes by that I don't think about what I did. Not a day goes by that I don't regret the choices I made. Your mother was a good woman. You were a good child, and I helped destroy your family. I will carry that guilt for the rest of my life. I'm writing because I heard about the work you're doing, helping children, speaking out, being brave. I'm so proud of the person you've become. Your mother would be proud too. I hope that one day you find peace. I hope that one day the pain I caused becomes just a memory. And I hope that one day you know that even in the darkest times, you were never truly alone. There were people who saw you, who loved you, who wanted to protect you. I just wish I had been brave enough to be one of them. With deepest regret, Patricia. Maya read the letter twice. Then she folded it and put it away. She would not write back. She would not offer forgiveness. Some wounds were too deep to heal with words. But she also would not hold on to hatred. Hatred was a poison that hurt the person who carried it more than the person who deserved it. She would simply move forward, keep living, keep loving, keep honoring her mother's memory with every breath she took. That was the best revenge of all. On the 10th anniversary of Naomi's death, Marcus and Maya returned to the ocean. It was the first time either of them had been on a boat since the accident. They had avoided the water for years, the memories too painful, the fear too deep. But Maya had wanted to come. She had wanted to face the place where her mother had died, to say goodbye, to find closure. They chartered a small boat and sailed out to the approximate location where the accident had occurred. The water was calm, the sky clear. It was nothing like the stormy night that had claimed Naomi's life. Marcus killed the engine. They drifted in silence. Maya held a bouquet of jasmine flowers, her mother's favorite. I used to be so scared of this place, she said quietly. I thought if I ever came back here, I would fall apart. How do you feel now? Peaceful. Maya looked out at the endless blue. She's everywhere, Daddy, in the water, in the sky, in the wind. She's all around us. She always has been. Maya leaned over the railing and dropped the flowers into the water. They floated on the surface, a splash of white against the deep blue. Thank you, Mommy, she whispered, for saving me, for loving me, for making sure I had a chance to live. Marcus wrapped his arm around his daughter. She's at peace now, he said, and so are we. They stood together watching the flowers drift away on the current. Then Maya turned to her father with a smile that reminded him so much of Naomi it made his heart ache. Let's go home, Daddy. Marcus smiled back. Yes, he said. Let's go home. They sailed back to shore as the sun set behind them, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. And as they stepped off the boat and onto solid ground, Marcus knew that the long nightmare was finally over. His wife was gone, but her love remained. His daughter was safe and she was thriving. The guilty had been punished and justice had been served. And the future, once so dark and uncertain, now stretched before them bright with possibility. Marcus Wellington took his daughter's hand. Maya Wellington smiled up at her father, and together they walked toward the rest of their lives, carrying Naomi's memory with them. A light that would never fade, a love that would never die. Because in the end, that was what mattered most. Not the pain they had endured, not the darkness they had survived, but the love that had pulled them through, the love that had saved them, the love that would guide them always, no matter what challenges lay ahead. Love was stronger than cruelty, brighter than fear, and more enduring than any evil the world could devise. And in the Wellington family, love had won.